Okay. Where did the clicking come from? Okay. Where did the clicking come from? Okay, can you guys hear me? The two of you who are here right now. A few of you who are here right now. Oh, wait. I'm just gonna say, I don't know how well this is gonna work because I'm also streaming on YouTube. But I don't see my controls for the thing on YouTube. I don't know where it went. Ah, there we go. What? Okay. I'm just gonna...
Yep, hello.
Hey.
What's up?
So we're just starting
Been a
it.
while.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna let people trickle in for the time being.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the YouTube thing is working because I can only see it from my perspective.
I can go look.
Well, I thought I'm supposed to have like controls for this, and I don't. Where are my controls?
You're using OBS for this?
Yeah, I thought that with YouTube streaming, it's just it uses this the software to stream, but it's supposed to give me some kind of like controls that I can do, like for
Yeah, there should
moderation
be
and
like,
whatnot.
yeah, there should be like a side panel that shows up, and I don't know how to get it back if you closed it though.
Yeah, I don't know where it is. It should be fine. Um, so this should
The
be
stream's working.
okay. Good. Um, so yeah, this is gonna be like the what?
I can go open OBS real quick and look for you.
It wasn't an OBS. It was in the YouTube live streaming thing.
Oh,
It says there's 2 people watching. I don't see that.
yeah, that.
Oh,
Oh, you mean like the people actually
okay, yeah,
watching?
I do see people watching, but
View. What the hell is it? Oh, it's docs and then YouTube live control panel.
oh, in OBS.
Yeah, and OBS if you're looking for that.
There we go.
And there's also a chat if you need the chat.
Concurrent viewers 3. Nice. What did I just do? Oh, okay. I know what I'm doing.
That's about my experience with OBS.
Yeah, the only reason I have like OBS, a lesson that we can start off with. OBS is very, very useful if you're just using it for like literally one thing. If you try to use it for more complicated stuff, oh boy, it has too much stuff. It's the same reason why I use Audacity. Audacity is great for the one or like handful of things that I need it for. But if I want to go further, there are options, but they're very complicated. So, okay.
I don't know if my plate noises are coming from my mic I'm eating at the moment.
I can hear a few clinks, but it's not too obvious. I don't know if you can hear my fan. It
No,
not.
you're good.
Okay, that works. Let's hoping more people show up. Usually people just like kind of trickle in.
Yeah.
Let me check some things. Okay. You said you had people in your server who wanted to clue in?
Yeah, I had an invite link before, and then you made your official one, so I don't know how
Okay.
many people saw that one.
Okay, that's fine.
In either case, my event thing is set to go off. Well, it did go off that like 3 minutes ago. So.
Okay. Where did my stream thing? There we go. Let me look at this. Okay. Well, I can start for the few people who were here. Welcome. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate your participation in this community conversation. Rhyme was not intended. The whole purpose of these is simply to get people's opinion about what has been going on. The survey that is currently linked is what I put out before to kind of like gauge people's opinions about what's going on with the first part of our new 115 cap update. And on my end, I'm a little bit surprised about some of these answers, particularly on topic 4, but we'll get to it when we get around to that. But it's kind of interesting with how the cap has gone so far, that we're at what, week 6, I believe? The day of the cap.
Somewhere around there.
Let me double check that. I believe 115 came out March 18th. So this would be, yeah, it would be 7 weeks since the level cap released.
Yeah, I was gonna say it felt like 2 months or something. Like
Yeah. We're going fast. Like content-wise, I know a lot of people say there isn't a lot of content. That was actually one of the comments that are down here. One of them was that it doesn't feel like we have a lot of content, but
yeah, I mean, this was before Venus, though, wasn't it?
Yes,
The survey.
The intent of this was to get information before Venus. So,
Okay. I mean, I took it and I don't even remember.
so there is a kind of like a less, I guess you could say, accessibility to content because of it. And I'd have to say now I feel like the game's in a little bit is in a arguably better position than it was when I put out the survey. But again, that comes with the fact that we got more content. Whether or not that content is something that people are enjoying is another question. I don't know if you've attempted Advent.
No, not yet.
I'm going to do that either after this or tomorrow, depending on how willing I am to bash my head against the wall. But I tried it last week and ended up stopping after about 3 hours because I was just getting a headache from. I have to say that fight has a lot more flashing lights than I was expecting, but the main thing was like it's there's a difference between it and Largo, where Largo gives you time to figure out what the mechanics are, but also punishes you if you don't do them properly. Well, this one doesn't really give you time to understand the mechanics and just punishes you anyways. It is easier to kind of continue to progress in Venus compared to Largo, because you don't get like instantly killed by things, but you might as well, honestly. Yeah, because it just ends up kind of being a little bit like there'd be a couple times where right at the beginning the thorns were covering the platform in such a way I couldn't avoid them, so I got hit by 2 thorns literally once the fight starts, and I'm like I'm trying to do the no healing item, like no healing consumable thing. I lose all my health right in the first like second of the fight. I'm restarting, And the amount of times, because I'm doing it on my vigilante, the amount of times I've cat dashed off the stage is just annoying. But yeah,
I'm probably just gonna skip the event myself. It's just like I did the same thing for Largo. I just didn't really care for any of the cosmetics they gave.
yeah, I was considering doing it, but after those 3 hours, I realized that my main issue is just kind of like
Well, that too, yeah.
is I'm being very greedy, um, about a couple things, and like I'm pretty certain now, um, that I could get it. Just phase two is just going to kick my ass for the time period that I'm able to do it. But um, yeah, so Helix, if you wanted to join and talk, you're more than welcome to.
It's like
Um,
my thing with this event is like I don't really. I'll feel like I'll do it when I feel like doing it when I'm bored of everything else, and I don't really care for the event. So it's
mm,
um, like I'll get to it when I get to it. Like I see people doing it that are like 9K below my current fame, and I'm like, I really don't have an excuse, but I still don't care regardless.
well, there are some people who purposely did it at Min Fame Cut to
Uh,
try and prove that they could, one, to prove they can do it, and to really see how difficult it is. And someone who just joined is one of those people. I think did it on a couple characters, and it is a test of your patience to be able to do that fight for
yeah, I
that
can
long.
imagine.
Like like Largo. Once you get through his patterns, you kind of like, okay, I understand the progression of the patterns and how everything is going, and you get the black lines, which are supposed to be, you can't do this forever. This is something to kind of throw a wrench in your plans to try and continuously
Uh,
going. Um, that's not the same thing here. There are no black lines. Just uh, you just get kicked in the face a lot and then stomped on. So I do find it funny, certain mechanics, when you fail them, she just kicks you off the stage. And like
I've never seen that.
I would have preferred that she literally kicks you out of the fight and you have to restart, because that would be funny. And it would kind of just be like, well, you screwed up, you deserve the
The lose animation.
yeah. And yes, person I was referring to who did mid cut, was Tamaki. You did it on what, two characters, I think, or three characters, or two characters. Um, and you have it recorded, I believe. But it's just, again, it's a testament of your patience to do it that long. Because some of those mechanics are the timing in between them is very very tight. Um, hey, Helix,
Sorry.
you're good. So uh, we'll get into it in just a moment. I think we can continue vamping for the next 3 minutes, and then to start officially at 10:15. So
I don't know if I should bother even paying in my server. I think that'd just be extra annoying.
do it. Well, like I just make sure not to hit the ping everyone thing, because I don't think I have the.
No, because I have like the little Discord event thing running. I don't even know how noticeable that is, to be honest.
Yeah, it shows up at the top, but sorry. Go ahead, Helix.
Oh, oh, it works?
Yeah, I can hear
Oh,
you.
there you go.
Okay. Uh, one thing I can't stand is so when I was doing it on my brawler, the only character I did it on, uh, I kept getting, like 8 minutes in, getting to part two, and then fucking it up, and that was awful. Having to do that over and over and over again.
Yeah, I can't wait to get to that point. The At the end of my attempt last week, I got into phase two and immediately died, and I'm just like, well, I'm not looking forward to this. Like I had a sacred blessing, so I was able to get back up, and I was able to do the maze mechanic, but like uh, after
Oh yeah, that
doing all of that work to then pop up into a second phase that just basically again kicks you in your face immediately
yeah,
is
that maze is terrible. If you fall, it's just over.
mm, so it's we can't like we're talking about it now, but this wasn't intended to be about Venus, just because um, it's kind of focusing on the part of the cat before we got Venus, but it is kind of the um, what's a good way of putting it? It's kind of the main point of DFO right now is Venus. Like you run your disappointments of doom, you go do your Temple of Disappointment, and your Azure Main. Nah, I don't have a funny name for that one, unfortunately, but you go run all of those. You get your purple gear. You get your Doom Oracles. Your Disappointment Oracles, and you go spend them, and then you're wondering what else are you doing, because there is a kind of like just a limit on what is available for you to do, and that is because this is the early part of the level cap, and that's what we have. Um, and we'll get more next week, but even that has a limit on how much of it you can actually do. So there's a lot of not things you can do in the level cap at the moment, and I think that may have influenced the responses to the survey. But we'll go into that. I get now. It's 10:15, so we'll go ahead and get going. Um, so, hello. My name is Kanjali. This is the community conversation number 3. Most of you who are here have been here for the past few minutes, but the purpose of this conversation is to talk about the first month and a half of the 115 level cap and kind of talk about how people responded to a survey I put out about their kind of feelings about the cap. So the intent is to kind of make this as well paced as possible. I'll bring up the topic points. We'll talk about it as much as we'd like and move on. There is no fixed time limit for this, but it's if we do tend to kind of like stray off topic, I'll bring us back in line. But for the most part, it's just kind of free discussion about each one of the topics. And then at the end, if there's a desire for it, we can talk about Venus and anything coming next, but that's something we'll reserve for the end. So without further ado, let's get into the first topic, which is the overall satisfaction and progress. Just double checking, can everyone see the survey that I'm...
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. And anyone in the audience, feel free to speak up. You can raise your hand to speak, to join the speakers. You can type in chat. For the people who are watching on YouTube, if you want to participate, just put something in the chat. I can see it. It is on a slow mode, just so that I'm able to keep up with it in case it gets active. But yeah, so the first topic is the overall satisfaction / progress of your account within this first time period. And I kind of expected this response of it. It's mostly 3 and 4, so either middling to somewhat positive. I guess you could kind of feel like that would be kind of the feeling that people have. If anyone wants to talk about what their opinion is about their overall satisfaction.
I'm kind of surprised it's not like a U-shaped curve, considering how many people are like, I like this cap because I got my primeval, or I didn't get any primevals. This cap sucks.
Yeah, and we'll get into that once we get down to the fourth topic, which is probably my what's the most interesting thing to me about it. But I think it's difficult to kind of like be too negative on this cap, because it's RNG, so you can just roll the dice on whether you like the cap or not.
Well, speaking of Speaking of not liking the cap, BK wanted me to pass this along to you guys because this thing's too late for him this time zone. He said if you go to the community conversation, go tell him that BK thinks that this patch is garbage. Everything is luck gatekeep. Dungeon design is ass. Weeklies are ass. Fuck Purple Temple. Quality of life one.
Okay. I mean that is a valid opinion. Like the first time I got into Temple of Death, and it was a struggle to clear it because I was trying to do it on my own, and I got nothing. I got, I think, two actual pieces of equipment, and I was just wondering why in the world do I feel like this is something worth my time when I was
Exactly.
struggling so much with it to begin with. And it's, I mean, we've gotten to the point where, like, I feel like I've reached a good level of progression in my characters, but my overall account progression does not feel like it's good for the
Hmm.
7 weeks. For the 7 weeks we're in it right now, like it definitely has felt like in the past maybe 1 or 2 weeks that my account progression has shot up drastically. Where in the first 5 weeks it was very slow. Um, okay, I'm gonna read Grizz's thing here. As a new player to DFO, I don't have past experiences to compare it to. Some of the RNG feels bad, especially with the heavy cost to transfer primevals from alts to your main. I feel like my main is at the whim of whatever drops for what I'm playing at the time. Agree. The major issue I have is gold generation. There have been several times where I have been sub 500,000 gold with no tickets to run Malefics. Uh, yeah, and even their planned solution. If you would watch the Extreme a few days ago, they said that to kind of help alleviate the gold generation issue, they're going to be giving account bound malefic clues as part of one of the events, which is very nice, considering that in comparison, the casino from which was the gold dungeon from the previous cap, where you first needed the fame level to do it, um, and then you needed just like multiple characters at that fame level to do it, basically, to be able to generate a decent amount of gold. Um, Now it's technically easier to generate gold through the gold dungeon, but it's feels slower. Everything with it feels much slower in comparison.
In terms of account progression, I have one character that can do TOD.
I have two, and I've hit the 20 character limit for 1+1. So I'm like, well, granted, I'm only funneling two characters, so that checks out. But still,
Yeah, and then the how funneling has worked for some people has gone either quite well, and they actually have their one character at. I think a lot of people who have like hard funneled one character are at like the 67 to 70k range. And this includes people who don't have amps or like don't have high amps. Is that they're around, I want to say, the 66 to 67 at the low end, and then 70k at the higher end. And anyone who's above 70k has gone more than all in. But those people generally don't have multiple characters on their account that are at that high.
yeah, I've seen somebody earlier today, and they said they were in a raid with a 70k player, and then I checked his character, and he has a primeval legacy, a bludgeon, and then two hideout endless gold pieces. I think he had the bracelet and necklace.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, that checks out. Like some people just really stupidly lucky like that.
Yeah. My top three. I wonder if I can just switch the screen here. I can
For
switch
me,
it.
I'm like my right now. I'm just if they get any primeval, I'm immediately funneling someone else. Like I feel like that's for me. That's about like the right pace.
So I'm gonna briefly show mine. So I push my top three. They're all at the roughly the same. Uh, Damn it. Roughly at the same fame, and then I don't have anything properly ordered, but my main characters have all been pretty pushed because I've been playing them every day.
Yeah, that's
Not
kind of what my
necessarily running like DODs every day, but running when I can. And this feels comfortable where I'm at, but in comparison to the previous cap, one of the things I don't like is that I can't feel like I can play all my characters that I want to in the content that I want to play them in. These three, my main three, I can do whatever content I want on them, and it doesn't feel bad. But once you get down to my 52s, anyone between my 52s characters, running Temple of Disappointment is difficult on them because they're just above fame, and that dungeon is not easy. I don't even want to like running Azure Main on my Dark Templar or my Shadow Dancer, who are at the not my Shadow Dancer, my Dark Templar, who's at the fame for that, is horrible. It's not a good experience, and it makes it feel like the characters who I've been pushing are it complements my interest in playing them, but I don't play this game to play one character. I play this game to play multiple characters, and it feels rough when I have to kind of like pick and choose who I want to like invest in, because they might get lucky and get a primeval weapon like my Impaler has, while none of my other characters in my main group have primeval weapons. My Vigilante and my Necromancer have a primeval piece of gear. They are at epic weapons as well, but they don't have a primeval weapon. My Impaler does not have any other primevals other than the weapon. He's being hard carried by it, which is tend to be the case, unfortunately, with a lot of kind of like character generation.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Let me go back to where we go. Here. Looking at the chat, main issue as a new player is there isn't an in-game source to elaborate just how important Void Souls are. Yes, and how limited they are. Yeah, Void Souls. I think it is the opinion of many people that Void Souls should not exist. There should have been a different gate to gear progression, and this is kind of a weird thing to say, but it shouldn't be it should not be possible simply by the game's time for people to be in full primeval set week one. That's understandably not something that should happen. But it shouldn't be that because of the availability of Void Souls, we can't transfer epics, we can't transfer legendaries. We basically have to pick the character we want to play rather than play the game with whoever we want to play.
Well, I've been telling people this is basically just every cap prior to 110 all over again.
Yeah, that's unfortunately the case.
Especially 100.
Yeah, and for the people who are not here, so this is Grizz. Kirby, or Helix, I don't know if you were here in previous cap. I think you were here in 110. I'm not sure if you're here for 100 cap.
Definitely was here for 110.
Okay. So 100 cap was also an RNG cap. And the chase item, instead of it being these primevals, it was mythics. And mythics were god-awful. Because they defined what everything that you did. And some of them were very, very good, and some of them were awful garbage trash.
And then sometimes you get the fucking manual set on Dark Knight. No, I'm not veteran.
I knew someone who was an Elven Knight with the manual set, and they're just like, okay.
At least he could use it. I got
Right.
fucking Arid Desert on Dark Knight before he was able to manual anything. That was something that came in the middle of 100 Cup.
Yeah, so that's not really helpful. So what it kind of ended up being is that your play was dictated by which mythic you got, and oftentimes people in kind of like the pup raid scenario, you were kind of shut out if you didn't have a mythic, or if you didn't have a good setup with the mythic that you have, or just whatever reason based off of gear that's just kind of unnecessary. And it didn't feel good, because you could have a full setup. You could have your armor set, your accessories, your special equipment, whatever setups you have. You can have all of that and never find the mythic for anything you're wearing. And while it's easier to swap between sets then because they didn't have gear rarity, it still was rough. There was no armory system. It still was rough to kind of like adapt to whatever changes you have, because you would have to hold on to the epics you wanted to use, and if you didn't hold on to them, you had to just hope
Yeah,
RNG
it's
would
like
bless you so you could get it again.
we didn't have an armory system. The whole thing was basically just to push stash base expansions. That's what it felt like to me, anyway.
So
Because this was like back when the like your player stash was still one row by default if you didn't spend anything on it. So that was terrible for like if you wanted to gear any new characters.
and since we're kind of, the conversation's kind of moving into that, I want to bring the survey into it. But like we are talking about like content progression and gear progression, and I do think it's a little bit interesting that at least from the survey, it says the content progression is kind of either or like yes or no. It's kind of like in the middle on that, because if you got lucky, yeah, content progression is great, but that's if you got lucky.
I got lucky and I'm on the no side.
Yeah, you got a primeval weapon really quickly. Like, I think like what, first week you got your primeval weapon on your
I got
Dark
a
Knight?
primeval weapon and then also flipped a fucking Hideout's Endless Gold bracelet like yesterday. So even then, I still don't like the progression.
Oh yeah, like it took 5 weeks for my Impaler to get his first primeval, and it was for the nature set. That was the set that I had the least progression on out of every single set. It
It's like
had
my. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
it was, I think, at unique 1 before I got the primeval. While I had, I
That,
think, 3 sets at legendary 2 at that point.
that was me on my. I also flipped the Hideout's Endless Gold bracelet on my M Satyr, but by then I was Epic 1 on Death in the Shadows, because that's just where my gear happened to go. And like, I I noted my like I'm pretty sure before and after I disassembled the primeval, like my gold set was at unique 2, and then registering the thing in the library, it made it like unique 4 or something. And like, wow, riveting content.
Mm-hmm. Let me go
And
over.
it's like the thing I don't like about this cap is like there's no, how do I put this? Like there was a lot of like gear expression last cap. Like I can literally just like I wanted to play the stupid meme builds. I can like get to. Here it's just like keep throwing the dice until you get something usable, and that's about it.
Um, yeah. Uh, it's it's hard to really kind of like come up with like a kind of a good explanation of things. Grace's question: do you feel that a conversion system like the Venus Fusion at the Gate of Materials would be an improvement option for the cap's progression? Well, we'll get that eventually.
Wait, really?
It's what has happened in previous caps is that they do something so that it's easier for us to progress on the earlier parts of the progression. That is something. I mean, I'm not. Don't take what I'm saying as fact, but a conversion system so that it's easier for us to get gear so that we can get through the early part of the content and get into the next part of content they want us to be playing. That seems like a likely thing to happen.
That's what's happened every other cap.
Yeah, and so it's kind of something we have to deal with in this early part of the cap, is that the quality of life improvements that we kind of really want are something we're not going to get until far after they're really truly valuable to us, because we've already put in we've already spent the resources, we've already spent the time, we've always had the struggle, and they give it to us to try and improve the lower end of things, or to make new players who are coming in at a later point in the cap able to reach the people who have spent all their time progressing in the first place. It's a thing that, as Freecom said, it's something they've been doing.
It's basically like a clearance sale at the end of the cap if you want.
Yeah, have they been doing this since 90 cap? I want to say.
Yeah, I would like to say either 90 or 95 because like I'm thinking like 85 was too early. Like I don't think they did that in 85 Cup because I certainly never finished an epic set back then.
Oh, I
But I
didn't
think it was
finish the. I managed to finish an 85 epic set at the end of 90 cap. So yeah.
or yeah. So there you go. So I'm gonna say 95 Cap. They started doing that.
Yeah. Um, I do remember from the DNF on that was last weekend, they said they're going to introduce a conversion system for the distinct pieces from Venus. I think, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah,
Conversion from what to another distinct piece or
I believe so. Yeah, because right now the yeah they're auction only
they're all
scrolls.
scrolls. Yeah, of
So
course they are.
uh, do your Nobel raids. Yeah, that effort statement was not okay. It's not to the same level as EA's what is their famous Reddit statement? Sense of pride and accomplishment. Um, yeah, it's not to that level, but it's definitely a kind of kick in the face.
Credit limit. It's not credit limit. It's your luck.
Yeah, it is definitely luck.
This is reminding me of people before inheriting was a thing in DFO, like who would like publicly rage quit on echoes because their plus 15 didn't pan out.
Yeah, and then it's also kind of funny that they introduced Inherit right after, like when they introduced it, the cutoff hit a lot of people who had amped, like who had like full plus 12s or full plus 13s, and either the way to actually move those upwards was either ridiculously difficult or just not worth it. But yeah, it's when we had, I think it was the Miracle Weapon event, if you remember this,
God.
from a very, very long time ago, where
I still have a video on that.
they gave you a weapon. I think it was it gave you a weapon that you could reinforce using a material you could get from, I think it was from dungeons, or you could buy it with clear cube. Can't really remember exactly how you could get the materials to reinforce it. But instead of reinforcing your own gear, you would reinforce this weapon, and whatever reinforcement level you got it to, you would get a ticket. So if you got it to, I think, plus 12, you got a plus 11 ticket. If you got it to plus 13, you got a plus 12 ticket. And if you got it to plus 14, you got 2 plus 12 tickets. And I think at plus 15, you got 3 plus 12 tickets. Like, you just got 1 extra. You didn't get like 3 for hitting 14. Or sorry, for 1 for hitting 13, and then 2 more. You just got 1 extra for each level. And the amount of people, and I'm sure this is in your video you're linking, but the amount of people who were raging during that event was just so funny.
That's probably why they never did it again.
Yeah, it was, and it was kind of interesting that they did the community reinforcement thing where you could watch other people reinforce. I think the event itself was kind of fun. I don't think it, in that sense, but
yeah, that's why I have like this stupid montage thing of it.
yeah, but the event itself was not a good idea. But this is one of the points where I would direct this back to 115. So we kind of got into gear progressions, the next thing, which just come on, there we go.
On the content progression, I think the gap between Lake and Azure Main is huge for some reason.
Yes. Let me actually bring it up in game. Lake is 34.7k fame, and Azure Main is 44.9, and 40k is around where you reach the kind of the first stopgap in gear progression, because I believe at that point you have basically overcome your uniques, and now you need to start getting epics and legendaries to upgrade your gear. And Lake is very hard at 34.7k fame. Uh, Honestly, I think out of all the advanced dungeons that we have, Lake is the hardest. Um,
Yeah, Moon Lake feels like the big it's not so much a difficulty curve anymore as it is like a steep cliff.
yeah,
Because
it's
I'm like I've tried repeatedly. Maybe this is just skill issue on my part, but I feel like 4K, even 4K above the cut line, and like it's still like extremely hard. I might time out if I like zone out for long enough. But this, granted, this is on characters that barely have creature or a title, so don't take my word for it.
yeah, it's just like it is a kind of like a character setup thing, and but it definitely Lake does not feel like something you should be doing at the fame required to do it. Uh,
I feel like now that we have like an in-game gear calculator, they should just drop this fame BS and just have like the calculator damage requirement.
That'd be dope.
Because like fame just feels like you're getting bamboozled, like the fame requirements at least.
yeah, because you can kind of get like faked out by fame. Like if you pig a primeval weapon, that's 3,000 fame that you're getting from a weapon that, while it's very strong, it's not giving you kind of like that much of an increase in
Yeah, it's not
damage as
3,000
it
fame
seems.
strong.
Yeah, yeah, and the calculator doesn't really work. It's a nice first step. I think the calculator needs to be like improved a lot more.
uh,
It doesn't work, from my understanding. It doesn't work with the proc sets. It doesn't actually calculate the proc damage. Um,
oh boy.
I think that's the case. Tamaki or Hawks, correct me if I'm wrong. Uh, I believe it doesn't calculate them.
Yeah, they probably don't put that there because if you go
Oh.
if you do that in training room, they
Because
just put all
because my vigilante set is Soul Fairy, and fairies do more damage than any of my other skills. Uh, I don't think that's properly calculated. Like it's not really calculated in the equipment simulator because they're not one of the skills that it lists as showing for damage. So
yeah.
um,
Because do they still do like in? I haven't done this yet, but like, isn't it in training room still like anything that comes from equipment? They just like throw under the same umbrella as
yeah,
equipment damage.
yeah,
They still do that.
it's just as equipment damage or equipment effect, um,
That's
and
stupid.
it doesn't give you like your individual thing. I, yes and no on it being stupid. I think like the main issue is that um, they changed the formula for they did this a little bit back in 110 cap before the switch over, but they changed the formula so that proc damage or object damage is based off of your damage rather than it being based off of another stat. So um, excuse me, it's now pretty strong unless you're a satyr, but like it doesn't help if the equipment simulator, which is a very useful tool, doesn't really work with those sets. And
I wasn't
magic,
even like. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
magic domain, nature to some degree, and soul fairy are very strong sets. Their proc effect is very very powerful. It's a really good complement to your damage, but it's not reflected in the equipment simulator.
It's like I don't really see why they couldn't because they have the whole um whatchamacallit, the equipment activated effects window. Like they should have just like every passive proc should have been like its own skill, quote unquote.
They could have
So
just
they,
put a object damage simulator into that window, so
or
you know how
yeah,
much
or,
the damage that does.
yeah, basically just that. I mean, it's just a straight number for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So gear progression. Do you believe that time
Oh,
and or effort put into gear progression has matched your expectation where your progression should be? Uh, I think this is very reflective of the community at large. No, just flat out no. It's 7 weeks. I definitely do not feel like I mentioned this before. In the first 5 weeks of this cap, you could say the first month of this cap, I didn't feel like I was progressing anywhere. I was funneling into two characters, into my Vigilante and my Impaler. Didn't really feel like I was getting anywhere with them. Doing the weekly content felt like it was a slog. Doing the dailies didn't really feel like I was getting much out of it. And then all the other characters I wanted to play, I had to choose not to invest in them because I couldn't. I don't have the resources to spare. That's kind of fair based off the fact that this is the early part of the game and we don't have a lot of sources for resources. But when the previous level cap really kind of promoted you to play multiple different characters and made it easy to play multiple different characters, even when we did have the option levels, when we did have that and there was gating to the progression, it didn't feel nearly as difficult as it does now. And it's not really a difficulty now. It's just if RNG blesses you or not.
And then here's Void Souls coming along and just kind of spitting in everyone's faces.
Yeah, the Void Soul thing is it will come up again once we talk about resources, but it's a problem when we started midway through a month. We started in the middle of March, so we had 2 weeks to get the unique souls for that month's Void Souls. I'm pretty sure, other than swipers, no one got that.
Huh.
Like, it's just way too difficult to get that many unique souls, especially with our population. It's very difficult in general to get enough unique souls to be able to buy out the Void Souls per month. And I've seen some people, through some conversation, kind of imply that it is possible to get it all in a month. Even and then I see them clarify.
Possible, maybe. Probable, highly unlikely.
Right. Unique souls are RNG, like Juan said. Yeah, it's how much you need for a month. I think 1,600 unique souls. That's rough. I don't know where you're getting that. I'm in the rollover state, so I need 3,200 for this month. I have 7 days to try and get that, and I currently have 1,000. Oh, why do I have 1,000?
Yeah, how often does that rollover thing occur?
Every month. You get
but is there a limit on it, or?
Oh, it's lasts for 1 month. So
I understand that, but I mean, if you miss 2 months in a row, does
you lose 200. So it's only ever a maximum rollover at 200.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you will.
So theoretically, that number can just keep going up indefinitely.
No. It will always be maximum of it's. You have your base of 200, and then whatever you didn't buy the previous month is added on top.
I get that part. I'm saying if I miss next month, am I still going to be at 400 or is it going to be 600?
Oh, you'll be at 400, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, yeah. You lose them if you don't get them.
I think it should compound infinitely.
I think they need to find a solution for us to be able to get enough Void Souls, because most of us have missed Marches. We just didn't get them because March we only had 2 weeks to get those. A lot of people miss April's because we just don't have enough. The reason why it's easier for other regions to be able to do this than it is for us is because of the population generating unique souls to sell. Katie. Our unique souls I think are 200,000 gold each, and KDNF it's 1/10 of that, or I think it's actually 100K per soul. It's like last time I saw, I think someone said that it was 100,000 gold per unique soul in KDNF. So if they have their massive supply for one, oh, there it is. Where are unique souls? Was it the green number? What number is that? I I don't know how I'm supposed to bring this. Can I change the view on OBS? See if I can change it to Discord. No, that doesn't seem to work. Sorry, sorry, YouTube stream viewers. Kind of looking at that thing. Yeah, so it's roughly half of what we pay for per rare soul, indicating enough that it is for us. And they also have a massive supply, so it's significantly easier for them to hit the void soul cap each month. While here, we simply don't have enough generated for people to, if they had the gold, we don't have enough for them to even buy it. And I've checked a couple days, and it's like we have what I think, like, we can look now. Unique soul. There's 4 pages. Well, there's a lot at the last page, but I think in total this isn't enough for. There's not even. I would say in total here there's less than 700, which that's not even enough for one person. So this is supposed to be our main way of kind of like transferring gear, of kind of helping us. Our account-based progression system is locked behind something that we don't have the ability to kind of like actually work with. It's just not a good situation. It's one of the probably the worst aspects of this entire level cap is the void soul system.
I feel like it's like, in my opinion, it's absolutely a knee-jerk reaction to last cap when you could just transfer willy-nilly. Like, this is obviously a stopgap to that.
Well, we did have the limitation of epic souls, but there were plenty of sources of epic souls to facilitate that.
Exactly.
Here we don't have multiple sources, and we're supposed to be getting one more with infinite efflorescence next week, which is just 20 more void souls, which doesn't really help. Those 20 souls, right? The 20 souls from infinite effluence you get by trading the entry materials. So, which those entry materials cost unique souls. So, where are we getting these resources? It's just kind of like a weird situation where we don't really have the ability to do the things we want to do because we just don't have the resources available for that. Kind of reiterating the point. I see there's 9 people watching on YouTube. If you're listening in, if you want to participate or say anything in the chat from what you can hear us saying here, just type it out in chat and I'll refer to it. Feel free to engage. As opposed to the dimensional drop bracelets, which are I see. The 20 unique souls each week for the entry material for infinite efflorescence doesn't seem like a lot, but you have to play a lot of characters for that not to be the case. I'm just letting Hawks type out. Yeah. It's simply just like this is a stopgap that doesn't really work with our server because we're too small. And I'll move on to topic 4, which is reward structure. This is the one where I'm honestly a little bit confused on the responses.
Yeah.
Because the question I asked was, do you believe content rewards being based on base reward efficiency is an effective reward structure? And to be a little bit more clarifying on that, uh, I was talking with someone after I put out the survey, and I think the question was not really like detailed enough.
Didn't this have like a picture of like that little DoD multiplier thing on the dungeon select?
Yeah,
I don't
in
remember.
in the actual survey, it has a picture.
Uh,
I think it'll show up on the stream that I have brought up, but it has a little picture that says what it is, which is the base reward efficiency is one run of Disciple of Doom. Um, but it seemed, but the I think
and
what
it's super yes. What the hell?
yeah, and I think it's because I didn't word this question properly, and that's on me. In that instance, if you look at it from the perspective of just kind of like a what's the term I'm looking for? If you look at it in a vacuum, the way that this reward structure works is actually does work well, because you know exactly what your rate is for getting something. It's a simple multiplier when you go into the advanced dungeons, of like 5 times, 7 times, 10x, and so on. In that perspective, this is a fine reward structure system. You know what you're getting and how much you're getting out of it. But in comparison to the previous level caps, if you have experienced the reward system from previous level caps, one of the things we don't have here is we have basically one of the things we had in the past was a pity system. You got gear materials. You cleared a dungeon. You got materials. If you cleared enough times, you could get the progression you're looking for. Progression wasn't gated by RNG. Progression was gated by time. Here, progression is entirely gated by time. There is no way to kind of like deal with that RNG, to make it easier for you to get gear. And yeah, and that's the 7 times is just 7 times thing. Xenol's saying, like I mentioned, the first time I cleared Temple of Death, I got nothing. I got, I think, actually 2 pieces of gear. Just 2 rares. And that's supposed to be, what was Temple of Death, 17 times?
It was 17.
Yeah, 17 times, and I got 2 items? Like, I would be... It doesn't really feel like this is actually 17 times. It just feels like you rolled a bunch of dice, and only one of them was a positive roll, so that's what you get.
That's pretty much it, because it's like when you think about it, like if you don't have Neo Premium, a full FP bar of DoD is 20 runs, so it's like, yeah, that checks out. Sometimes I just have days where I get nothing the whole FP bar.
Yeah, and that's very common, and that just doesn't feel good, where, like, we also have just, like, 0 pity systems at all. So, I had the fortunate luck, last cap, of, for Mob, I didn't get my first Mist Gear epic until I got to the pity system. I had to pity it on my account, just my account period. It took me until I reached pity, which is a ridiculously long time. And the same thing, 1,000 runs was the first time I got a Mist Gear, and I think I knew several people who had, I think at the time, like 9 or 10 of them by the time I got my first one. That's not a good feeling. But I was still progressing with the other gear progression that we had. I just didn't get that side of it. When we got Library, and Library has the pity system for hitting a Primeval, it was on my Impaler again, I didn't get a Primeval out of Library until I hit pity. That's not a good feeling, because you're running a dungeon over and over and over again, hoping to get something, and you're not getting anything. Sure, I was getting progress on my other characters, but this one character just felt like nothing was happening. This level cap has felt like that this entire time, but I'm not reaching a pity. And it feels like it's just like this endless treadmill of not getting the same thing. really just not getting anything. Cap is we're doing the same thing as last cap, but with 0 reward. Yeah. A lot of people complained about last cap about the option level system being like a ridiculously grindy progression, and that's fair. It was, but it was progression. You felt not in the like the 40 to 60 period, but like the first half of it before we went to Seon. That progression, you actually felt it. Every single time you reached a certain threshold with your option levels, you felt it. And they got rid of it because people didn't like it. And we come to this level cap. Doesn't feel the same. Pity is a legendary or above. Now it's not good enough is debatable. Well, the problem with that is you like look at Temple of Death. The first time you run Temple of Death, you get a legendary gear pot. It's completely random, but it's still a legendary. That's one time. Why is it not once per week? It's not going to really, like, change anything too much. But there's no reason for it. It's dupe pot? What do you mean by dupe pot? Because there are no dupes this cap. It's something we also don't have from the previous cap, is we actually had, or not dupe, ditto pot. Or the ditto gear that we had last cap where you
ditto epic,
yeah, we don't have ditto epics this cap, but it really doesn't feel good when you run Temple, you get nothing. The first time you run it, you get a random legendary pot, and then afterwards you just don't get anything. Oh, I see what you're saying. That's also kind of an annoying thing, is that we get these like the legendary and epic legendary and epic pots that you get from Benny Boo seem to be weighted for gear pieces you already have, and when you're at one last piece of gear for progression, and let's say that's your pants, and you get 3 earrings in a row, oh boy, I'm not happy. I don't really feel like those pots end up being worth it. It feels like they're like the amount of gold that they cost, the souls that they cost, makes them not feel like they're worth it when they are arguably the best way for us to progress, because they're a guaranteed item of that rarity. You give a pity system, like every 10 to 20 pots make it a selection pot. That would be, an idea. It could work. Maybe they introduce it down the line. Maybe you have something like you can, instead of opening 10 pots, you can trade in 10 pots for one that lets you select a set. Or like actually select the slot. That's an interesting idea that they probably wouldn't introduce until really until the end of the cap. Yes. I am a machine that turns 10 epic souls into 1. It's kind of rough to feel like anything is actually worth doing because the reward just isn't there.
Well, let's say it's working as intended. I think they're pretty good at inducing FOMO, at least for the rich guys.
Deterministic goal. It's hard to say, because let's say you want to reach you want to get to, the main thing is we're all aiming for the same goal, which is the primeval set tier, and there is no like progression to that. It is RNG to get there. You can help offset the difference of RNG just not being in your favor by tuning, but tuning still requires you to get epics, legendaries, and uniques. It still requires you to get gear, disassemble it, and use those souls to improve your own gear, it still requires you to have gold or to run the gold farming dungeon to get malefic residues, so that you have the resources to be able to tune. You do get those souls back, but all of this is to just facilitate RNG, making it more difficult for you to actually progress. Excuse me. And it simply is not a good feeling that you have to use your resources that you may want to use for something else just to give you a small edge up. Temporary even, because the tuning is not intended to be a main thing until you're in full epics. Yeah, that is a thing you have to consider. Is, do you progress on your alts, or do you use the souls that you have generated from running content on all your characters to get your main up and build up your main character? It's a simply like the. This is why I think the reward structure question is a little bit strange. I don't think the reward structure is very good this level cap. Personally, I'm just very unsatisfied with it. I feel like they could have done something to make it easier for us. Sorry, Helix, you were saying something?
I interpreted it as whether or not it's a good idea.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I said it was good. It was a good idea. I just think it wasn't. I don't know. Maybe the numbers should be up higher, or there should be some kind of reward floor as well.
I think that, yeah, I'd agree with that. Or floor would probably be a nice thing to have. That's kind of like making it so that every single time you clear Temple of Death, you get a legendary pot instead of it just being the first time.
Yeah, I always kind of. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I like the distinct equips. I wish those were like a guaranteed thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised how rare those are.
Distincts are very interesting because some of them are just significantly stronger than others, and it's valuable to actually have those or run those, especially where some of the stats that we have are pretty limited. Or you could be like me and on several characters get the epic distinct shoulder.
I don't know what they do. I think it was like the Magic Stone or something that had.
Magic Stone gives more CDR.
Yeah, that was the one everyone.
So
wanted, yeah.
the baseline is 15%, and then I think it goes up to 25% at Epic, which is nice.
Everything else kind of just like nobody else talks about the others.
Well, the shoes are also really nice because it splits the speed. So the shoe slot gives movement. It gives all speed, but the distinct will split that into all speed and then movement and additional movement speed. You get a lot of speed out of a distinct shoe. The shoulder is the worst slot because the base item has 40% movement, has 40% speed on it. The distinct has no speed. So even if it will give you a big set point bonus, you're losing like 40% attack casting speed and I think 40% movement speed for a item that gives you a hurting effect. It'll gather everything in front of you, which doesn't work on bosses.
Oh yeah.
So that's not really worth it. Doesn't feel too good to get. The sub equip does literally nothing. I think it gives extra crit rate. But
oh, alright. I thought it was overall damage a little bit.
No, actually, all of the distincts have lower overall damage than the set piece of the same slot. They're all having slightly less.
That's what I thought the sub equipment did. It's like the gap between that and the set pieces is lower, but I don't know. I'm just I don't have the game open, so I can't look.
But more opportunities to get distincts, which can help offset not finding gear, would be a nice thing. It's something that like there seems to be oversight on the reward structure, feeling like there's ways to cover RNG.
The sub equip gives crit chance.
It gives more crit chance, yeah.
The epic gives 30.
Okay.
You say oversight as if this isn't completely intentional. It's like they do this like practically at the beginning of every new cap. It's like because they have no content, they're stalling for development time, so the gear feels like crap until they have more to unveil, and then they make the gear feel like less crappy as time goes on.
Right. Uh, there's something there that I'm trying to kind of like be like, but wait a minute, no, it is something that happens every level cap, but there's we know the gear ceiling because primeval set is a ceiling. Once you reach primeval set, your next step is min maxing. But to reach primeval set is completely RNG, and that's not really something you purposely do. Even even if that's like this is the early part of the cap, you don't make it RNG because you could have some people who in the span of a week get 4 primevals. I'm not saying that there is someone who has done this. We have seen someone who apparently appeared out of nowhere and has had 4 primevals on a single character just come out of nowhere. We don't know how like it I'm not gonna say names. But right, it shouldn't be that like RNG is it blesses someone so much that they're basically able to skip the entire first part of the game, um, without actually having to engage with it.
Well, there's some monetization to be had there too. It'll entice people to swipe harder for better luck, or so they think.
Right. You can force luck by like ramming your face into DoD over and over again. But it doesn't feel good when like even then, as has been the case for me, has been the case for many other people, you funnel all your resources into one character and they get nothing. Like I said, it took 5 weeks for my Impaler to get his first primeval, and it wasn't even for a set he was using. While some characters, like my Inquisitor, runs the daily dungeon and gets a primeval battle axe out of it.
Put it this way, it's kind of like in a like say in a literal casino. It's like why do you think the slot machines have like a siren on them? Like when somebody hits a jackpot, it just blares nonstop. It's like it's some people quit over that, sure, but I mean the people who will stay will be like, oh, I can be like this guy if I hit the lever hard enough.
Eventually, that'll be me. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
mindset that a lot of people.
yeah. I'm kind of surprised they don't actually do this in DFO, do they? Right? Like there's no system announcement for somebody getting a primeval. It's just
Oh no,
somebody
that
bragging
would
about
be
it.
really really bad. That would not go well.
Uh-huh.
Um, uh, yeah, uh, it's not a good situation when that happens because you kind of make other people feel worse about their luck and RNG just not being good. It's
Yeah, I figured
part
that
of
was the point.
I mean, it's part of the reason why, like personally, I don't like partying, in the advanced dungeons because I've had shit luck for most of this early part of the level cap,
Yeah,
and running with 4 people, seeing that blue shine, and then it's not me. I'm like
and then
and
and then
not even that. You just get rares.
oh, somebody
Not
had an animated picture somebody posted of somebody uh like during the results screen they manually click on their card and get nothing and the other 3 people get primevals.
yep. Hawks just put that into the chat. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Let me let me.
And then there's people like me who flip a fucking gold bracelet as a primeval and then 3 people in my server tell me to go die.
Yeah. It's this is the kind of thing that like it just makes you want to stop playing for the day. Oop, there's something I have to delete there.
I mean,
Um,
for me, like maybe I'm just like I would have clipped that myself, just even if I didn't get anything, because that's to me that's like you just saw like a fucking shooting star happen, basically.
yeah. Yeah, and the other things like the when you get gear and like you get the primeval sphere and you get a weapon that's not for your class, that doesn't feel good. Um, I think the first primeval I got on my necromancer was the legacy knuckle, and on my character sheet she's right next to my FNN. That's nice. That's a nice feeling. Um, but like, that seems to be kind of like the issue with this cap altogether, is that it doesn't like progression doesn't feel good, and then there's too many things in place to make it feel like you're not actually getting something valuable out of it whenever you do get something. Oftentimes when I'm running, this is why I call it Disappointment of Doom, because it's just mostly disappointment that I'm getting out of it, not actually like actual progression. So when I run DoD and I get the Epic Shine, which cool, and it pops out a gear set I'm not working on, I'm just like, okay, that's an Epic Soul. That is... Chris's question is, how much do I have to swipe for some dopamine in this cap? The answer is yes. There is no end.
It's like, how much? Why are you asking for how much? That's not how live service games work.
Yeah. Scrolling down on the wrong thing. And finally, I think this is the topic that like most people. It's pretty understandable. Like this is something that we've been talking about throughout this whole thing, which is resource generation. Do you believe the resources necessary for progression are readily available to your expectations? And that's just a overall big no. It's just not happening. It's probably the most obvious one is Void Souls, but gold is not easy to obtain at all. I've been running the Malefic Clue gold dungeon semi-frequently, just to kind of see how much I get out of it, and no, it doesn't really feel like it takes a lot of time to clear it, but it doesn't really feel like I'm getting a lot out of it, and it seems to be the kind of the consensus for most of the stuff this cap is you're running a lot, but you're not getting a lot. Yeah, unless you get like one of those secret like when I was doing it today, I got one of those, I guess, like the secret maps, like a special map, where after I cleared it, I got in just that one map alone, I think it was 50 malefic residues. Oh no, sorry. You're talking about Malefic Clues. That's my bad. Malefic Clues, you get them from Benny Boo, who already doesn't appear enough. Even though he's the best burb, he just never shows up when you want him to. And like I stack up, I didn't start running these until I get like 100 of them, which takes a long time. And even then, that's the other thing. Gold is just not readily available. So when Banny Boo does show up, you don't have the gold to be able to get the items that he's giving you. So it's kind of like this endless cycle of not having the resources that we need.
Is there any particular reason why you can't like buy with your safe gold from the bird? You have to buy the owl.
Yeah, I never got that one either.
No, because there is no reason.
Spaghetti code.
Okay.
Well, it's not even spaghetti code, because they showed us that in Venus, if you get a leave in C2 or in Advent, you have 15 minutes after ending the dungeon to go get your gold from your safe. Her shop, it has a 15-minute timer on it. Why can't they?
I'm willing to bet if they put that on Banaboo, they probably break something in the game, because that Delilah has been in DFO for like how long now?
Forever.
Banaboo's just a model swap of her, basically.
Yeah. Well, it's the dragon guy beforehand. I can't remember his name.
Gabriel.
Yeah, Gabriel beforehand.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. Like Gabe should have had the option for you to be able to. I'm to kind of get your account stuff. I'm assuming the reason is because this isn't a Legion dungeon, or this isn't a raid, where you do have the kind of like the lobby you can return back to. You're just supposed to be running these dungeons over and over and over again, but it doesn't feel good when this shows up when you're not prepared for it and has an item you're absolutely looking for and you can't get it.
Like it sounds like something easy to do, and then I think of other dumb stuff that they should have added ages ago, like the auto refresh checkbox on the raid list. Like that was like late 110 cap when they added that in it, or I think even after 110 cap. It's just stuff like that. They probably can't do that for Banaboo because it's like they have to go editing code that the person who wrote it hasn't been in Neopol for like how many years, or that sort of thing.
I just want like a use safe material button, like on everything else.
Yeah, like just something like
And
that.
yeah, they've been implementing that on a lot of things, and it's something that they should just make kind of baseline at this point. But it's not clear why they haven't done it. Grizz is asking to either buy a permanent owl for every character or keep up to 5 mil stash on them. Well,
Grizz, you can buy an owl.
You don't need 5 mil, just or I mean, like if you want to buy the owl or whatever, and just have 30K on it at least.
mm, I mean, you can get an owl from the guild shop.
Oh yeah, that too.
You can have. I think you can like. You might want to just keep like at most like 200 to 300K, because the owl is less than 100K, I think. But you can also get them from the I think I just said it from the guild shop, and they're cheaper there. I feel like that maybe they should be offering the owl and more things, because we were given one free owl once, and there was another time where we were given a stack of 100 owls. But it's something that would make it feel less like you're losing out because you don't have your resources on you.
I've had that happen to me a few times. Like I lost the legendary pot because I didn't have enough gold for the owl by then. So I'm just like, well, I'm just gonna let that one slide, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's just crazy. It's 30K, and a lot of times you don't have it.
Yeah. I'm because I've been playing for so long and I do hoard my gold. I do have the gold to be able to buy something from Baniboo, but like what Tamaki is saying, there's been times where I've pulled gold on another character and forgot to put it back, and there's no way to have to get that gold back into your account safe, and you'll lose out on an item just because you made that mistake. Again, this is one of those things where it just doesn't feel good not to have your resources available to you at all times. It's something that I think is kind of like one of the things they should probably look into changing. Just like where exactly gold is located on your account. Yeah, that would be an idea for them to do. I think it might also be easier for them to track gold if it was like souls and cubes, because it's attached to the account rather than being like a very mobile thing. If that makes sense.
Wasn't there like a long time ago? Like, wasn't there an inventory icon for gold?
I don't remember.
I know like there's some places on DFO Wiki that use like an inventory icon for gold. So it's like I'm wondering at some point in like Nexon era if it was just an item.
I know you could pull gold from your character and drop it in dungeon.
Yeah, so just put that in like the little cube sidebar thing.
Yeah. I mean, if the holdup is the gold cap is what's making that difficult, each character they could continue to have it be by character, and that wouldn't make sense then. Never mind. Yeah, it's kind of weird. The whole gold cap thing is a problem in of itself because that's gonna cause some issues. Um, but gold as a resource, at least this cap has both become less necessary and more valuable in the sense of what is needed by each player versus what is needed by progression. Like, we don't need to use gold to actually progress. We can use malefic residue. Um, but because the only place to get malefic residues is the gold farming dungeon, they're kind of tied together.
It's
there
to the
should
point
be
where
more
they're
ways.
literally interchangeable on some windows.
Yes. You were saying something, Helix?
There should be more ways to get malefic residue.
Yeah, I think it's not okay that it's just one quote unquote source for the malefic residues. Um,
Does track give them, or
Yes.
is it only annihilate? Oh, okay.
It's the track and annihilate give them, but they're the gold farming dungeons. You run those dungeons to farm gold, and that's the only place they're located. You can't. I think you can get them from normal dungeons. I'm probably wrong on that end, because I haven't run a normal dungeon in outside of the.
I do normal dungeons out of boredom. You don't get any malefic clues or residue from them.
Okay, so you can only get them from track.
Actually,
and
no.
annihilate.
Manabu can show up in normal dungeons, so sometimes like they'll show up with malefic clues, but that's about it.
Yeah. But even then, malefic clues, the source for them is Spanibu. Or it's the track Maleficent if you're. No. I think it is just Manabu for malefic clues.
Uh-huh.
For now.
Yeah.
Next week we'll get them out of an event.
We also got them from the Digming event. We get 3 of them.
Yeah, which is, I mean, a nice thing. It's just simply not enough.
I've been loving the repair coupons, but the issue with that is, for some reason, like if you break your weapon in dungeon, it wants to use an all one. It like you can't choose to use
The single item.
the single one.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's up with that because the it used to be if you had any coupon, it would use that. Now it doesn't. Like even if you had and even if they were in your account safe, it would take those to repair your weapon. But they're not tracking the single use coupons for some reason. Well, okay.
Yeah, well,
I thought there was something in there that would count how many they would use. So if you
What
had
you-
to repair 4 items, it would let you track. It would let you consume 4 single-use coupons you had in your safe.
what I know you can do is like if you talk to an NPC, you can repair just the single item and it will use the single repair coupon. But if you're in a dungeon, your weapon breaks, it's gonna want you to use an all one for some reason.
Mm.
When you click the icon.
Yeah, but for the most part, when your gear's broken, what it's tracking is your weapon. It's not tracking your gear, or like when your gear's
Exactly.
damaged. So it seems like a weird thing for them to kind of like make a hang up on.
And then the other thing is every time you change equipment, it asks you if you want to inherit or something. That's really irritating.
Yeah, the inherent menu asks you to repair your gear. That was something that I know was a complaint, because apparently when they changed, what was it? When they removed item type, like the like cloth leather plate,
Armor
yeah,
class.
the armor type. Thank you. They equalized the durability in all of them upwards, but didn't actually repair that gear if it was lower than the 48. So if people had tons of gear and they're safe because they were collecting it or holding on to it or something, they had to repair all of that before they could do anything with it. And I think for some people there was like several million gold to repair all of the stuff they had in their safe. It was just nowhere close to even being worth it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I have a lot of hammer icons on my Dark Knight safe. Like last time I checked.
Give me 1 second. Taking a drink. Um, and then I'm not going to go through all of these, but these are the elaborated answers. The people who put in like more explanation of their kind of like their responses. I think from just reading through these, for the most part, it seems like it's kind of like a general consensus on what people are saying. It's one of the things that I think kind of stands out is that I think I just saw it. Where was it? It's the soul market. It's just with how important souls are of any kind to our progression right now. We just don't have enough, and I don't really know how we can really explain that it's our population that is the reason why our souls are so difficult to get, and it's something that is unique to our server, and we need to find a solution for it.
Didn't the director of Global, like shortly before this cap came out, they said they're going to monitor the server to see like what unique problems we have. Like, I wonder if they're going to like ever act on that or not.
I want to say they did talk about that at some point, but I think it was related to connectivity, not
Okay,
about our like not about resources in the same sense.
Trying to let me go find the announcement because I know they made an announcement about it before this cap.
Xenol, I'm not entirely sure what was the price of souls back then. All I know is that now, Hawks posted it up earlier, that the cost of souls is roughly half of what it is in KDNF than it is for us. So for us, a rare soul is about 200,000 gold, and KDNF is 100,000 gold.
No, wait, I don't think it was like a. Well, this is the one that I was thinking of. But it says this paragraph here. It says we do wish to mention that additional methods that are tailored to our DFO server will be implemented to prevent economic destabilization, such as making various items. Sorry, go ahead.
I do remember you talking them talking about this. Yeah, this is something where like it's useful that we have the extreme to kind of hammer home that hey, these are our problems and you should look into them. But it's difficult to like I'm not trying to like make a stance here or anything, but it's just difficult to kind of push this when a lot of what happens whenever we have these complaints is people will complain about them, and that's it. And there's the expectation that because Neopal is at least they're in this server, they may be in other servers. I believe they're in 80%. They might not be, or one of them might be. But either way, they are in our community. They do have an idea of what our issues are, but it never seems like we give them the kind of what's the way to say, I'm gonna say this? We don't kind of give them the kind of like incentive to talk about a certain issue because it feels more like they're waiting for us to bring it up, rather than it's something that they need to address.
It's like in a bunch of other games that I've played before, where it's basically just the equivalent of yeah, we hear you guys, but then they don't go any further than hearing the players.
I mean, yeah, and Hawks is bringing up a good point. It's that even if the community members are in our servers and listen to us and see what our issues are, there's only so much that sending it up the ladder and getting nothing back does. Like, it doesn't feel good when the response we get when we have a major issue is we have no response to that. But it's not the people who are telling us that are or that's not their stance. It's the people above them,
Uh,
and that's been the case for a while. Excuse me. What did you say, Helix? What is that? I don't know what that word is.
It's truth, nuke.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was something that was a kind of, if I'm going to be honest, a little bit disturbing. The way that he was saying, he was responding to the connectivity issues. It, like Hawks is saying, it seems like they kept on brushing off the connectivity issue, and when we finally got a response, and like we were making an uproar about it, and when we finally got a response, it like Tigger did not look okay. He really did not look okay when he was giving the response, and it's good that we have. Sorry.
You got a link to that? I want to see that.
It was one of the, which X stream was it? I don't have one offhand, but like, was it? When was that? Me clicking out of the thing. See if I can find it. Which one was that? Was that the? Let's see. Was that with the? That wasn't the April 1st one, was it? Or is that April 15th? See. Luckily, we have all the streams up so we can see it, but I don't remember. Oh, what? I should be looking at the Extreme confirmation. That's more useful. Let's see. Oh boy. Oh, that was a while back, apparently. Oh, don't want that.
it's kind of how do people expect them to answer this? Is like because they have to. The only way they can fix this is by like buying more servers, basically.
Which they did. Well, they have. They said that one of their solutions was to add the relay servers. And for the connectivity problems that were to happen this week, they said that they had. What did they say? The servers for those specific dungeons went down for some reason. Which is an interesting situation for that to happen. Like, I'm not entirely sure what they meant by that, but I mean, it's probably something they can't really go into detail with us because that's not something they need to tell us.
If you ever monitored DFO's web traffic, they always go to Amazon web servers. So there's
Yeah,
probably something on their end.
It could have been something with Amazon, yeah. Hawks, I don't remember when that happened. So I'm not seeing it in the Extreme confirmations. It was okay. It's the February. If back in February, yeah. So let me. That was when we had our weird timing on things. But yeah. And is the actual extreme itself. I believe that was the correct one. It was noticeable too. Like, a lot of people commented on the fact he didn't look okay. Sorry, for the silence work. The Hawks is it's typing something in chat, so I was just responding to it.
Trying to like look for a timestamp for the.
Yeah. I kind of wish we got more details on what the maintenance was for this week, because it came out of nowhere, or like last week, because it came out of nowhere. And it's something we've like. It's been kind of a weird back and forth that we've had with communication with the Neopol. Is for some time we've had very good communication with them. They were kind of clear on what was going on, and there just to be periods where they're just kind of silent. And even when we ask the questions in the extreme or try to push for certain things in the extremes, there's no give, and they don't tell us anything, and it just seems like we're being left in the dark again until we kind of raise a stink, and then they apologize and say something and put out a dev talk notice, or they say something in the extreme. And like, we had that back in February, and we've just had something recent. That we just had that, like, the recent thing, I think, with the last extreme, where they gave more details. It's kind of like a weird, like, sloping thing. That's not the right term. Like peaks and valleys. It's like we'll get like peak information, and then we'll get valleys of nothing. And it's just simply like a not a good feeling. That I'm not really too sure. Like we kind of want this conversation, the communication, because we've had it, but not getting it is rather frustrating. And it doesn't. I think in like combination, to kind of bring it back to this community conversation, kind of like with how this level cap has gone, where it just seems like this is just the frustration level cap, because everything seems to be kind of against us from actually playing the game, or actually feeling like playing the game is worth it. It's just all compiling against each other.
Oh yeah, I had a moment, like, I think it was yesterday or the day before on my own server, where I'm like, I just had a weird moment where I'm like, I want to continue playing this game, but like every fiber of my being is like physically telling me no. And I know it's because of like the shitty RNG and stuff. It's like, I want to play more DFO, but like I know it's gonna suck ass because there's nothing left to do in the week.
The number of people who have either quit or are coming close to quitting, or like you could even say like silently quitting, is, in comparison to previous caps where we've had like these slow periods, just astronomical. And it doesn't seem like a lot, because it's kind of good to remember that, quote unquote good, that for the most part, when it comes to the community interaction, it's a very small percentage of the people who are actually playing the game engage with the community.
Huh.
But it's those people who kind of make the game alive. And it was said in the extreme this week that, what was it, 2% of new players? Was it 2% of new players, or 2% of yeah, I think it was 2% of new players are reporting issues with being trade banned.
Only two?
I'm saying it wrong. I think the extreme notices has the proper information that I'm looking for.
Like practically every week, there's like 2 or 3 people on our DFO like saying that they've been trade banned.
What they said in the extreme is the capture system. It's triggering for less than 2% of total users, meaning does not affect the majority of players who played normally. So it's 2% of the player base.
I'm so looking forward to that when I migrate over to Linux, and then I'll add to that 2%.
Look at what you've done. No. um,
Yeah, how dare I go play on Linux? I'm obviously a cheater.
yeah, the trade ban thing, like I was, it's kind of a funny thing. Like I I was hoping not to have to talk about this at any point because I wanted to focus on the level cap, but let's be completely honest here. Like, if the new player experience, which is a very important thing, especially with the introduction of a new level cap, is a lot of them reporting that they're getting trade banned and feeling like there's a massive roadblock for them to be able to play the game, that is something that's a major issue. Like, everything that's going wrong with this cap, or let me rephrase
I
that.
don't understand, like, I don't understand why they haven't done this yet, but like the little I forgot what the pop up like for getting trade banned because I haven't gotten it in like forever. But it's like all they have to do is just change that to like a less threatening "please verify your account with us" type of thing. Because like it's pretty obvious like this whole trade ban system is just their way of like just have people like verify their account with support. Like that's literally it. And they don't word it as such for some reason.
No, they're never gonna word it in a way that makes it not like, or I shouldn't say it like that. Like it's very much not okay that it sounds accusatory. um,
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
tone it down because it's not these new players' fault that 8 years ago some jackass decided they're gonna do massive chargeback fraud through Steam, and make trying to play through Steam a nightmare, and also raise security altogether on the game, to make sure that it's difficult for anyone to try and pick up and play the game. It's been a significant amount of time that new policies should be in place so that new players don't feel, as is now, this shouldn't saying, like, it really does not feel good to try and introduce someone to this game knowing that they're probably going to have massive roadblocks to make it not worth it for them to be introduced. The fact
So,
you can
like
get
just
an account restrictions even the account has 0 characters. What is the account doing? Like that's kind of an issue there. Like, what exactly is triggering this? And I believe they said that, like, their system, like, they manually verify the data whenever like the system detects, like, certain behaviors. And sure, there are some people who are breaking TOS, and that's what they're getting banned for. But I don't think the people who are breaking TOS, the terms of service, and are knowingly breaking the terms of service, are the ones who are putting in these complaints about being banned. I think. Wait, hold that thought.
yeah, it's like
I
if a
think there
bot's not
was
going to
actually
complain
one
about
person who did that.
like, there's not going to be a bot complaining about their ban. It'll spin up another bot.
Right. And, like, I can understand their reason for wanting to have heightened security because they don't want to get this game end up like other games that are free to play that have rampant bot problems. But we have other things in place that make bots difficult to even be operated properly. Like, that's what the whole separation of the gold farming dungeons is for. Because they're separated, it makes it difficult for them to actually farm gold, but they are going to farm gold no matter what. Like, that's not really a good question. It hurts the players more than it hurts the bots.
Yeah, it's like that's the reason why like they should just like changing the wording of the trade ban notice is probably the path of least resistance for them. Because it's like they obviously don't they're not keen on changing this system anytime soon. We've had it for years, so and it's
It,
like crap. I forgot what I was gonna say. Never mind.
I mean, it's obviously a canned response it's just been using forever. and most of their ticket responses are the same. They'll come from basically a document that they copy paste. Because of the amount of times we've seen it, there hasn't been any kind of variation. One, they'll never specify which third-party program are the causes of the ban because that's for security purposes. If it's known that that one type of program is going to be able to is something that could get around the security, other programs that are similar to it could. Computers are stupid.
It's kind of like the same reason. It's kind of like the same reason why RuneScape doesn't immediately ban you upon detecting like illegal botting. It's like they don't want to have the bot makers like put cause and effect together.
Yeah, it's just a lot of like they're trying to be secure and they're trying to focus on their own, like, keeping things secure so that they don't have worse problems, but it's the presentation that is a bit of a problem, more than a bit of a problem. The presentation of these of how these kind of responses are doesn't really feel appropriate.
It's like I remember what I was gonna say now. It's like the pop up. It's like if they can't even do like an if statement, like an if else statement for if somebody's like new or if they're actually botting or whatever. Just like let's be honest here, like 99% of the time that comes up, it's probably because they're a new account of some sort. So it's like there's no way they don't have like just a random intern to like change a string here and there.
Yeah. Popping makes a good point. The ones that don't run into any issues are having a good time, and that's the kind of the case is whenever these issues pop up, it's only the people who are affected that will say anything. And even then, there are people who are affected that just won't say anything. They'll just leave the game and never come back. They've hit that wall. They don't even want to deal with it, and they're just done. And so we really don't get a good picture of how many people are actually getting through this issue and like just overcoming it on their own and just moving forward compared to the amount of people who are just stopping. Because there's like I mentioned before, the community like participation is always one of the smallest parts of a game community. Like I can't remember the number. I know there was a long time ago that I saw the number. It might have been with World of Warcraft, but I think it was something like only 10 to 20% of the total game population actually interacts with other people, even though it's an MMO. And that's because there's people want to play a game and they want to use it as a source of relaxation. They don't want to have to deal with anyone else. They just like the environment and like the world. That's the kind of game they want to play to relax. People are not to them. They don't find interacting with other people relaxing. So that tends to be like a thing across the gaming, just like space in general, is that for the most part, people are not playing with other people intentionally. They're playing for their own sake. So we're not going to see the full picture. Even if we were able to get the full picture, because I'm assuming Neopa would get the full picture. They're never going to tell us what the full picture is, because those are numbers. But in general, it just kind of becomes whenever these issue pops up, the reason why we see a lot of these reports is because it's only the people who are reporting them are having any issues. We wouldn't see the people who aren't having any issues. And that is today's lesson.
Yeah, that's its own can of worms for me. Like, if it wasn't about to go off topic, I would have said something about it.
Yeah, that's a completely different conversation. It goes beyond what the scope of this was supposed to be.
It's gonna be a rant that starts with, "Why are you not playing single player games then?"
Yeah, it yeah, and Popping's right. It's just an echo chamber. Like, it's the reason why a lot of people say the DFOG Discord server is the Doom posting server, because like every day that ends with Y, it ends up there's a conversation about how the game is going down, trending down, doing poorly. No one wants to play the game. Game dead. Like, it happens so frequently. Someone posts the DFO is dead image, or
I'm
sorry,
reaching
the
for that.
DFO is closing. Yeah,
I'm reaching for that right now.
that
Exactly.
that happens so frequently. Well, like, it doesn't matter if someone wants to be like the fender of the community
There you
and
go.
be like, make a very long Reddit thread about how no, the game is not dying. Shush. I'm not saying that because I did it, because I did a long
Yeah,
time
I don't
ago.
like either side of that fence. I don't like anyway. It's just like, why do you need to be so damn vocal about it? It's just, if a game has problems, just leave it be for now. Like, you can't do anything to fix it. So it's like,
It's
you either enjoy the gameplay or you don't.
Well, it's part of the reason why I do this is because it's a fun game. It's the only game that we of its kind. You even mentioned that yourself. Or no, no,
Exactly.
not sorry, not you. Or maybe
It
you,
probably
but
was.
Benetton in his rants that he put up,
Oh yeah, yeah, I remember
he
that.
said it's probably the only game of its kind. Um, uh, there's
I
not
think
any
that
game. Sorry.
I think Elsword is pretty similar to DFO.
This is like one of those things where it's like, if I didn't like this game so much, I wouldn't be criticizing it right now. I would just leave.
Right. Um, and I mean, we this community is pretty well established. All like, I I guess it's just because of how long I've been here. Most people who have been in the server have been around for probably 6 7 years. I'd say like this specific server has like a very well established community since 2018. I know at one point the server, popular probably know this, the server died and had to be restarted or something. And I can't remember when
Yeah, I
that
heard
happened.
about
It was like 2016, 2017, I think. Um, but this is a pretty well established community. So generally speaking, we're going to kind of stick together, um, even if things kind of go bad. But it's I'm kind of like
I have
losing the plot,
never
honestly. But like,
never
oh
never
boy.
seen that error before. I just went to like go look up my first ever message on this server, and then I clicked on the last page, and it said Discord tells me we dropped the magnifying glass.
Oh yeah, that's happened a couple times where like it just the search just kind of falls
It
apart.
times out. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yes, so like the main reason I do these community conversations is kind of like talk to the community about like get people's voices to explain what their issues are with this game. I usually try to get as many people as possible, and sometimes like this time it's pretty small. Um, and I guess it kind of like is a little bit of a reflection. Like, not many people want to talk about it because it's just not comfortable to talk about. They don't really want to talk about anything, or
That's what I'm kind of like wondering, like, where are these people who enjoy the cap because they got their primevals? It's like, this probably just ties into like people not talking ever in a community, but it's like, I would have loved to see somebody like that in this conversation.
I know a couple people who like this is the kind of level cap that they enjoy, and so they've been having a great time.
Well,
Um,
did they do they enjoy it because it's gambling, or do they enjoy it because they won the gamble?
yes.
And it
um,
makes you wonder that.
right, but like this is what most of the game was up until I want to say 110 cap. That we didn't really have 110 cap wasn't a gamble cap. The
Yeah,
previous caps
yeah.
were. So for a lot
I
of people, they didn't really like 110 cap because it wasn't the same game that they played before.
That's fair, I guess. It's like that I was gonna bring that up earlier, but I forgot. But it's like, I think the reason why I'm frustrated with this cap in particular is because last cap gave us a taste of what could have been. like when the gearing is actually good, and then they just fell back to something familiar, and it's like, no, let's go back to 110 cap where I can think up of like the meme builds on the fly.
Mm.
It's like if I wanted to play nature, the nature set just for shits and giggles, I can't do that because it's all RNG.
Yeah, and in my impression of um, the armory system wasn't what we have, because I originally thought it was you could literally go and try out the sets that you wanted to. No, you just got a collect. You can just got a place to store all your gear.
Yeah, just
And
another
it's a,
safety.
like, not saying it's a bad system. It's a fantastic system that we should have had in the game many years ago, but it definitely doesn't feel like you get to try these sets or really feel like you don't get a good way of seeing how these sets compare to each other.
Uh-huh.
But it's something like what Zeno was saying. Like 105 saw a ton of people leaving. It was more newbie friendly. Got a lot of new players. Yeah, it seems to be the case. Like with each cap, we have a core group of people leave and new people come in who are able to enjoy what the new cap provides. So that's the same thing that happened here, but we're not getting new people, so to speak, coming into 115. We're getting a lot of returners coming into 115 because they like what existed before.
I remember before this cap came out, some people were like giving me screenshots of like Korean comments, machine translated, saying that that they already don't like the cap, but also that they're probably, it's like, oh, I forgot. Hold on, I gotta find the picture again. But it's like, it sounds like they were not gonna like it, but after the cap came out, I didn't hear anything about it anymore. So I don't know if they like actually like this or not.
It's I mean it's something I've actually been seeing in a lot in the like the gaming community at large. Like Popping said, it took him 1 to 2 weeks to start hating the cap. There's an image that I sent someone, that they said the latest Monster Hunter game, what is it, Monster Hunter Wilds?
Yeah.
They said after 130 hours they hate the game. And you kind of have to question, what do you mean 100? It took you 130 hours to start hating the game? What happened in that time period? Like, were you enjoying the game the first hour? That doesn't make it. Let's like, but that seems to be a sentiment just across the gaming community altogether, that like people want to try and enjoy something and they really push themselves to enjoy it even if they're not. But they don't seem to recognize the time. They try to justify way too much before they actually recognize that they're not enjoying something.
Having PTSD flashbacks from when you interviewed me.
Yeah, like it's the that's probably exactly it. And the lack of depth that a lot of people are feeling now. And like, I think one of the, like, someone brought it up about Infinite Efflorescence, which is coming out next week, that there's there's a limit to how much you can run it, but you need to run it a stupid amount of times. I think it's like 100 times to be able to get the pity, but you can only run reasonably. You can only run it, or I shouldn't say reasonably, but the floor for running it per week is 4. You can run it 4 times per week without having to get to buy any other entries. And all it gives you after those 100 entries is a weapon pot, an epic weapon pot. Nothing else.
It's not. Is it a random epic pot?
It's a legacy or standard pot, so it's just like the primeval pots that we have in the shop now, where you open a pot and you either get a heroic saga weapon, or you get a box that has, or what is it? You either get the legacy weapon or a box that has the heroic saga weapon of your choice.
At least it's for your class.
Yeah, it's for your class.
Well, it's the thing at least.
I mean, popping is he gives monster fragments for a new bobblehead. Like having that option, that ability to chase some kind of cosmetic thing, is a really really important thing that I don't think like gets really talked about. We have a lot of interesting cosmetic, like the ability to chase interesting cosmetics in the game, but they're not talked about and they're not really promoted, and it's rough because those are interesting to find and look for. Um, and the other part of it is the system's not great. So how are we supposed to kind of like play the game we want to play when there's so many barriers to playing it? It's kind of like it kind of like a good way to kind of like brings up the kind of the gist of this whole conversation is that there's too many barriers to playing the game that we want to play, rather than, or no, too many barriers to play the game that we want to play. Just that.
Uh, at least for this, I can say, like all roads lead to its nature as a live service game. That's better than what I can say about some online games I've played in the past. Like the example I want to use is Metal Gear Online 2, which its primary barrier to entry was that on top of needing a PSN account to play it, you also need a Konami specific account. And the process of signing up for that was like really fucking miserable. And I don't even know if it was for like security or not. It was just there, and that prevented like a lot of players from actually playing MGO2. Like sometimes it's just that simple. It's like just something is annoying and people don't want to deal with the annoyance.
Yeah, that's. I mean, again, that's what when we're talking about the people who don't report if they get banned. The ban is the one and only barrier they need to know that they're not going to play the game. And
Forget all the other barriers they encounter after they get the ban lifted.
right,
Yeah, one of the barriers I was gonna mention is cat, but the events have been really nice.
yeah. The starter capsules have probably been one of the best things they've introduced because that has basic cat that gives you, excuse me, a character right up to the current content level. It shows you everything about how to play the game and how to get everywhere. Um,
I'm
that
kind of surprised that you guys put the starting line at creature or a title, because for me, every time I introduce a new player to this game, it's either the FP bar or the leveling is too easy.
yeah,
Like,
starter boost has default cat now. Um, I it's interesting because I really don't hear people complain about the FP bar. Like that was I remember it being
well, I mean, again, this kind of goes back to what you're talking about, like when nobody really talking about it, because like every time that I see this happen, it's probably somebody in a voice chat like being very vocal about it. But like they don't really. It was just in like a clan server somewhere. Like they don't engage in like the DFO community for what I hope is obvious reasons. Like, they just started.
right, and
So,
that's again like it goes back to the people who are even participate in the community.
plus zero weapon.
Yep, the Lane saying my friend came to try the game with their Kazan, paid for Neo Premium and got immediately banned when the reply basically attacked him. His commitment immediately fell off. Yeah, it's like we were saying the feeling that people have like the security system in place and the automatic responses are rather accusatory, and like it's not a good feeling to be accused of doing something you know you didn't do. And it's going to make it feel like, am I going to continue playing this game and be accused of doing something I know I didn't do again? And why do I stick around? Xeno, new players who just started have no idea about the game, want to play like a normal MMO, playing one character, and then they can't. That's why people complain about FB. Yeah, it's interesting because that's almost always what the case with FP has been. Is that just always just that it sucks the most for new players. But once you get to the point where once you get to the point where you have like an established account, ignoring everything else that's going on, once you kind of like establish yourself, FP becomes less of a problem, becomes more of a hindrance,
Yeah,
because
but it's like you can say that to somebody as many times as they want, but they never if they never get over the first FP bar, then it's like, what's the point?
right. Um,
it, it's not even because somebody said because you want to play just one character. I don't think it's even that. Just some people are allergic to like they see a stamina bar of any kind and they think it's like the mobile game type where you get 1 point every 5 minutes and then they already tune out because they think DFO is a shitty mobile game or something.
mhm. um, already resource limits. Odd thing is that FP bar does basically nothing now, considering that the only content really worth running has limited entries. FP feels obsolete now. It's hard to say. One of the good things about FP um, is that you have a kind of like an understanding of how much like time is really needed to kind of give to your character per day. Like that's not exactly the best way of putting it, but when you're playing multiple characters, and you want to have progression on, I'm going nowhere with this. Like it's I'm trying to find some way to basically say that FP is fine when we have an instance of you have options to be able to spend your FP. You have more options to spend your FP than you have to. Oh, what's the word I'm trying to say? Where brain is not working. It
Oh,
it's something like if you have, yeah, FP is necessary evil to limit yourself. Yeah, that exists, but it kind of like gives you an understanding of what kind of options you have available if there are multiple options. Like if you have multiple options to spend your FP on, it's good to have a limit so you don't feel like you have to do everything all at once. But we don't have those options. We have very limited options if at the moment to spend our FP on. Problem with this cat for people I brought into the game was the count break in period, which was helped a bit with the starter capsules, but also the design and progression being really heavy on the pause they can't afford from running DoD. They didn't really have enough content to run, just drop the game. Yeah, this is kind of what we were talking about. Like, there really isn't a lot of stuff to do, even when we get new content next week. It's just adding on to content that we have a limit of actually running. We're limited by what's accessible for us to do, really. And I mean, I could say, and I want to promote people to go PvP and go participate in Mez's PvP tournaments because they're a lot of fun, but people don't like PvP in this game. And because of the connectivity, PvP is already not good. Like trying to be like this. It's for people who play this game in the past. PvP was the thing, even with the whole connectivity problems. And now it's just there's no worth to play it for most people because they'll get in, and the people who play PvP. No, PvP is completely separated from PvE content. You can run as much as you want. You can. There's a rank system that nobody uses. There's a practice system that is just free play. You can. I don't actually think you can use FP at all anymore. Like, yeah,
yeah, they removed that a long time
They
ago.
removed that a while ago. You can't. It's basically PvP. It's the way your character plays is different, but it's there. It's just because of the connectivity problems, nobody wants to mess with it. And generally, the people who PvP frequently are very, very good at it, and the people who don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're stepping into. They'll go into a room that has people in it because the people who PvP always want new people to play, but they don't play to new players' levels. You just end up getting juggled forever.
The people who are really, really good at it are just playing DNF duel. Let's
Well,
be
I mean,
honest here.
if we're being honest here, there's more people playing DFO PvP than there are people playing DNF Duel.
In either case, you're probably going on Discord asking for people to play with you.
Right, and that's kind of like the end result of gaming now, is that you're really just looking for communities that you can participate in. But simple point is that we have options of what you can do when you run out of FP, but most people are not going to do it. Because those are the options that they're not letting you play the game that you want to play more. Well, popping, even if you echo to find people for PvP, you're going to get other people who echo saying, what is PvP? PvP is dead. No one PvPs. What's the other thing people say about PvP? It's just all male slayers. Like, Mez is currently running a well, I think the tournament's actually over. There was a tournament today for Nightfall earlier.
Yeah, I saw them advertising it.
Yeah. It was a fun tournament. I participated in the last one. I got my ass kicked, but like, that's okay. Like, it's fun to me. But yeah, they kind of try to like get people to trickle into PvP by making it part of the Arid Pass. You have to go in and do 5 matches, but you can do that in practice mode, and you don't even need to participate. You can go into the room, and someone else fights.
All they have to do for PvP is, like, I know there's people who want PvP weapon skins without actually PvPing. They just need to make it so you get arena coins in any game mode in PvP, like even unranked or against the bots. There's no way people are going to be farming that shit from like ranked.
The thing that I was actually hoping for from this skill rework is that it would have touched PvP, but it didn't. It didn't even acknowledge PvP existed.
Oh yeah, of course.
Which they haven't really acknowledged PvP even in KDNF for a long time, so it's kind of a concern that, like, when are they going to provide an update? Because archers can't participate in PvP right now, but they always intend to bring the new characters in. So when is that going to happen? Are they going to wait until after Chimera and Paramedic come out? We don't know. And like the lack of updates of any kind to PvP at all, just make it feel like they recognize that nobody wants with it. Kitty, I know, Kitty. Grab your tail. Sorry, my cats are hungry. But we've been going on for a while now. So
you were mentioning something about funneling resources. How do you even do that in this cap?
You don't. Funneling resources is with Void Souls. Void Souls are gated, so you can theoretically transfer items across your account and have account-based progression. But
yeah, that's what I was thinking of the event Doom articles.
Yeah. You just funnel to one character. It's just what ends up happening.
I think it would be nice if Dodd dropped like account bound orbs, oracles besides the orbs.
This is the first level cap where the material used to run the hell mode or DoD, it does not drop from dungeons. We get merchant coins. Those are supposed to be that replacement, but what we used to always have is you'd run the content that's available, just any content is available, and you would get entry materials to run the hell mode. You would also get that from the hell mode at a lower rate. You would get that from you could get that from any of the content you ran. Here you get merchant coins, which is I think it's 20 coins to one Doom Oracle.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to run a massive amount of dungeons to get enough merchant coins to make it feel like it. But you also have a limit. Where you have one option for Oracle coins, and then you have
Yeah,
another
you
one
can
that's
get
more expensive.
yeah, you can get like 10 or 20 of them for 300, and you can do it 10 times.
Yeah, so you can get 10. You can get 200 per week for 3,000 coins, and then every 2 coins is 40. It's you just have to spend. It's in comparison to previous level caps. Like the way that you could get Doom Oracles, the equivalent is there's so many more options. Here it's just massively limited, and that's just kind of like it's just kind of like a definition of this cap. It's just things are limited. Uh, I guess this is a kind of like a good way to kind of bring this to a close. Is that the level cap feels like it's limiting our ability to play it more than anything else. It feels like our interest in playing the game is hampered by the systems that are in place. We don't have enough resource generation baseline. We have to have events
Oh yeah,
to supplement
Pop,
everything so that we can actually
Popping
get
brings up
materials to run.
Pop brought up something that I forgot to mention like way earlier. It's like, why did they start this cap off immediately with the band-aids? It's like we're already getting Doom Oracles like left, right, and center like day one. It's like, yeah, if that's not a commentary on this cap, I don't know what is.
Well, that kind of answers your question that you had before. Of they know what the problem is. They've already had a solution in place right from the get
Yeah,
go.
it's like, well, it was a rhetorical question, but yeah.
Yeah, but like, hey, this is a level cap. They were intended to do things on purpose, including giving us the band-aids right away.
Uh-huh.
But in general, it's something like playing this game like at the current point in time, there's too many uh, uh, roadblocks to actually being able to feel like playing the game has a value, and it's generally the reason why the consensus for the game at the moment, what you see in the DFOG server, what you see in a couple of the other servers, like 80%, is that it's just kind of trending negative, and there's very little positivity about like playing the game. Like finding a primeval is not exciting. That should not be the case. It should be the complete opposite. And I think that's just indicative of the cap so far.
Oh, you say Doom. It says Doom posting, but there's a difference between voicing legitimate criticism and just yelling, "I hate this cap."
Surprisingly, we don't get a lot of that. We get a lot of people just kind of being disappointed.
Uh-huh.
We don't get a lot of people just like rage quitting. It's just people are just like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to deal with this anymore.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting like this cap, like, like I feel like this is like the very definition of like polarizingly mediocre, and like I was expecting it to turn out like how like other games like that turned out. Like I would say Metal Gear Survive, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, like those games were decidedly mediocre, but their reception was polarizing. It's like you either thought the game was like a gift from God or a spawn of Satan, and like I'm surprised that that wasn't happening here. Maybe because we're too small for that.
I'd say that's one thing. The other thing is that for most of us, we're kind of Stockholm syndrome here. Like this is what we've been playing for years. Leaving it after all the progression we put in is really, it's just maybe instead of leaving, we could just kind of slow how much we actually play.
I mean, that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
Which is what a lot of people are doing, and like a lot of the sentiment has been, you know what? I think I'm going to wait until next cap because this cap isn't working for me, and that's fine. That kind of sentiment is perfectly fine, and it's what a lot of people will follow. But
Well, basically what Hawk's saying and shit.
yeah,
It's like the core gameplay is fun, but the progression is just that's the part of me where that's the part where every fiber of my being makes me not want to play the game.
well, it's also why when they showed off the variation points and all the changes, a lot of people are really excited for this because it's gameplay. but what can you play? What kind of things can you do that with? Like what options are available for you to play the game in, and use these new variation point skills and play your character in a different format. Those options are very limited, and a lot of them are not exactly fun to people. Like, you're gonna get all these cool new variation point stuff, and then you're gonna go run into Advent Venus and get kicked off the stage 1,000 times. Super cool use of my new skills, the Opal.
This is why I made it a point this cap to make another Dark Knight. So, like, because I know I'm just gonna like eventually get geared on the one that I've been playing for years. So, like, I wanted to see what the cap feels like at the beginning. So when that variation point system comes out, I'm not in fact getting kicked in the face by Venus.
Lane posts, as a quick positive note to counteract the deserve the reasonable negativity. As a new player, the community has been very welcoming and helpful with the info that the game presents poorly, so I'm grateful for that, and things like this community conversation are nice to listen to as well, even we all agree on many of the issues. Yeah, again, this is one of the things about our community being pretty well established over so many years, is that we know the best way to tell you information that the game won't tell you. And Meng created the 80% Discord server specifically to basically target that problem that the game has, because we had, in the past, we had a lot less information about the game systems, and it was a lot more confusing. And so here he comes with the people who have helped him, creating a server that presents a ton of information to makes it very easily and readily available to people. Very, very useful thing to have, especially in a game where we generally don't have a lot of people creating guides or creating or providing information to people, because it's just not worth their time to do so. Every single time we have a major update of some kind that introduces a new dungeon or introduces a new level cap, they'll have an event to create a guide to explain the dungeons or the content, whatever it is. And the event is, if you write a guide, we'll give you some cool stuff. If you go look at the people who have entered into that contest, it's almost the same people every single time. And it's generally not too many people who are participating in this content. But there's still people who try to go out of their way to add in information. Chimera uses a compound bow to answer your question. Kirby.
All right.
Let's scroll back up. The new characters can have mixed feelings about new characters. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are excited for the new characters. I don't know why anyone's excited for the heaping trash fire that is Chimera. Showing off my presenting my very personal opinions about that. No, I hope people enjoy her, but she just does not look it for me. Paramedic looks interesting. I know a lot of people are very interested in playing the character, but okay, Grizz, you got me there. You're right. It's not trash. It's recycling. But like there's a common complaint I'm seeing about Paramedic is that you can't see her avatars.
Wait, is that actually a thing?
Yeah, she has the same thing that Mistress and Avenger have, where in dungeon you have a transform. She gets her Zero Suit Samus suit. So yeah, it's hey Afro. It kind of sucks, but people still play Avenger. People still play Mistress. I think people will still play Paramedic even if they can't see her avatars. Yeah, and W9 brings up another thing with the guides. Most of the time you write a guide and no one reads it. That just ends up being the case. I do kind of have plans to write character guides for variation points, because some people really want to know they want someone to tell them how to play a character.
Yeah, for most people that doesn't fly with them because they just write them off as stupid. I'm probably like one of the few people I know who actually would sit down and tell somebody what to do.
I don't know how many people are aware of what SCP is, but one of my favorite ones is 2521, which can only be explained in pictures because the monster will take anything that has written information about it.
I remember.
So it's a fantastically well done piece of fiction, but it's a very indicative problem that people just don't want to read words. So we're like the guide thing is a pretty big issue. Like, we have a lot of people who want to help. That's what the 80% server is for. We want to provide people with information so they feel like they can actually have resources of information for playing the game. But most people don't read them, so the effort put into writing the guide feels wasted. People will make videos, but for the most part, like, it's hard. So, Grizz, you're bringing up there was with updated guides and videos. Well, we used to have the issue where characters are getting updated and changed every few months. So what was and the guides would also be based around gear. So what would be the purpose of writing a guide or doing a video guide where 3 months down the line, gear options are completely different. The content that you would, or like the fusion system changes everything, so your guide that you spent time making is now no longer relevant. And yeah, it does sound like you could have an infinite amount of content with update videos, but we have too many, like, the way that I've seen some people say it is we have too many characters and not enough people playing them to be able to get a reasonable amount of information for each character to feel like writing a guide is worth it. Like, we have, I mean, in this chat, we probably have, every single person here probably has a different main. But they probably aren't able to talk about every single character that's been available. Like, I can't tell you a single thing about F mages. I don't play any of them other than Enchantress. So I'm not going to be able to provide additional help about the F mage subclasses. I kind of know my top three. I know my Vigilante, I know Impaler, and I know Necromancer. And those are the characters I'd like to write a guide about. But there's not enough people who play those subclasses for me to bounce my information off of to feel like I can present a guide that is correctly presenting information. And that tends to be the case, the kind of sentiment that a lot of people who want to write guides have. There's not enough of us to kind of like cooperate to create something. Let me kind of catch up with the chat, because now this to kind of for Afro and the new people coming in, the community conversation part has kind of ended. We're now just like doing a Q&A aspect of it. So we're just kind of like looking through the chat and talking about it. For the people who are watching on YouTube, which I don't know if it's the same people, they have said nothing, so I don't know actually who's watching on YouTube. Most of what we're doing is talking in chat in the community conversation channel in the FOG server. So I'll try to speak the questions or things that people are stating so that we can hear. How far back do we need to go? I'm going to start up here. W9 says, like, I can just shove you 10 to 20 video of the content you want to clear, and just taking a glimpse of it would prepare you for what shows up, and people will still reject it. Yep. Afro, I appreciate well-written guides for classes. A lot of people want well-written guides, but when content tends to change fairly quickly, there's only so much you can write that remains relevant. I think almost at this point, almost every guide about a character that has been written is obsolete, or mostly obsolete. So it's most stuff has to be remade. And then once we actually get the VP points, most of that also any of the remaining guides have to be remade again for the most part. Um, um, mention the thing Chris said. Lana have the opposite issue. Read all the guides, watch videos, and still play solo because of insecurity and joining a group of having experience clearing. Yeah, that can happen. I know that 80% runs practice raids constantly. I think Freecom's risky click is
Like I'm literally right here.
is a thing. You can ask him about it.
The thing basically describes it. Yeah.
Yeah. We try to kind of make it if you kind of it's hard to ask for help in the DFOG server, specifically in the general channel, because the conversation there tends to be very quick and kind of goes all over the place. So generally when you're looking for help, we try to guide you to help in builds or to the 80% server or Freecom server if it's not having
like
a dumpster fire itself.
Is Reddit saying that?
Yeah. Let's see. Going on. Popping. There are too many characters. Bouncing is hard. Praise AI bouncing. I'm not going to respond to that. There's been several instances of me telling people, please use your tab, and people just take that as some sort of offense and rage quit. Yeah, there's always that group of people who play a game just because they want to play it and never learn about the aspects of the game. And even when you're given all the tools to understand the game, to understand the content of the game in game, these people just never pick them up.
It's basically you can lead a horse to water. You can't make them drink it.
Yeah, and that's why I'm kind of concerned about when we get the LFR version of Nobel Raid, because it's just supposed to be a group of random people slapped together into a raid group and go have fun. I don't think that's going to go well, but I'm very interested to see how that happens.
I've seen people on this server already treating that as like the how do I put this, like the Spanish flytrap, I guess.
I mean, it's from my experience playing WoW when we had LFR raids and when I participated in them, the only people who were expected to know what they were doing were the tanks. And most of the time, it was basically the tanks leading everyone and being like, please, they basically say the same thing. And when I was a tank for this, I'd say the same thing. Please don't let me die, just kill the boss. And the amount of times we had to reset because people didn't know what they were doing and the tanks just died. I think the game even told us at one point, hey, I think you're having a problem. Would you like a massive damage boost so you can actually clear this? And we're just like, oh, this is not a good feeling. But I don't know if we're going to get that. I actually don't really know any information about the LFR Nobel Raid. But continuing on, the thing is, this is an MMO. We can teach people the basic. Afro is saying this. The basics, but I think just like all of us before, there's things you have to learn yourself by playing the game or ask around the game. Yeah, it's you kind of want to see what you can learn first and then ask questions about what you're not understanding. But at the same time, we do try to make it, at least our community does try to make it that information available when we can. The negative experiences that W9 was talking about has impacted me and why I should help people out. Yeah, when you provide help but people either ignore it or kind of backtalk you don't want to provide help anymore. Excuse me. We can only help people who want to help themselves. Yep. Tomaki, I was considering doing an in-depth guide on Dragon Knight, but there aren't enough people to talk about it, so it didn't happen. There's also a good enough baseline that I feel that it wasn't needed and didn't need it. Yeah, that's kind of the case. If we can get like a very basic overview of the character, that usually generally works, and then more intricate information can be asked by people. But the main thing is there's just not enough people to kind of like collaborate with to make sure that the information you're talking about is correct. Is it crazy to expect to be able to solo an advanced dungeon at Cutline without Cat? Like, Cat is so necessary, I can't imagine trying to do Lake without it. Um, okay, I need to get some drink real quick, I'm sorry.
Yeah, whoever asked that, I've attempted that myself. It's like, it feels like if you don't have creature or a title, it feels like you need to be like 4 or 5K above the cut line. We were talking about this earlier, and when we were going over his survey, uh, like it feels like the cut line is like a lie sometimes, especially when you don't have creature or a title.
Yeah. The that's probably why the starter boost capsules have the CAT in them, because they
This
know
isn't
that
like
that they know that it's important to have it. I'm gonna be honest that this game is really rough for free to play players. I mean, in comparison to previous caps, I think it's a little bit easier for them because Cat is currently it's at its cheapest that it has been in a long time, but it's still a pretty huge bar to get over for a new player. Like, it's almost expected for you to spend money, which is not a good thing, because there's one more hurdle for new players to try to get over. Let's see. El Pretty. Funny thing is, even with removal option levels, the amount of weekly homework this cap is introduced is basically matched or eclipse 110's cap homework. Like, yeah, you can tell some guy to run one character, never do the advanced dungeons, dailies 1+1 and alts, but they run into the issue where they can never self-sustain on souls. That's far off from reality. It definitely feels longer than in 110 cap. Like I mentioned it before, the gold farming dungeons now feel significantly slower than Casino. But you don't feel like you're actually getting more or as much out of it compared to Casino. You guys already answered the question about voice chat. Yeah, the voice chat will never happen. Extra homework is a result of us coping, trying to compensate the unluckiness, which is ironic since luck's supposed to let us stop early, which will never happen if you're not lucky. RNG cap is RNG cap. To put this into perspective, if you wanted to tune epics, let's say some guy only plays one character and you buy souls to compensate, the current rate is 60 million gold per epic tune, epic pot open. That's unfeasible for 99% of players. You don't have to go up to the epic level. We don't have the ability to sustain unique souls on this server. We just simply don't have enough of them being generated, which in turn means we don't have the ability to sustain void souls because we just don't have enough of this stuff to be able to generate it. The one thing I don't think is mentioned is we don't have a way to convert souls down. We only have a way to convert souls up. I think if we had the option to like break down legendary souls into unique souls, the void soul issue wouldn't be as much of an issue. It'd still be a problem, but it wouldn't be as bad. It also give people who are done something to use their primeval souls on. Not saying it's a good option, but
I can already see them like pulling a Path of Exile, and like if you try to go backwards in the currency progression, it's just vastly more expensive than going forwards.
I mean, it shouldn't be one. It shouldn't be like. It should come at a cost. This is generally what happens with that. Is that if you have this kind of reduction, it should have some cost, so you're not like benefiting off of getting better stuff. In a sense, it's not a good like concept, but that tends to be the case of these kind of things. For at least from what I've seen before, like when you break something down that's bigger, you're supposed to get more, but as Popping would probably probably doesn't like, when you're using the monster fragment system, if you break down one, you don't get two, you get one. So they would probably do something like the equivalency thing would not be the same. So it would end up being you would have some kind of cost if you want to go from a soul from like a primeval soul to epic souls. But that would be the simplest way to help resolve our issue of a complete lack of souls altogether on our server. and
Yeah, I agree with
that's
that.
something that's been kind of like a main issue
At
with
the
it.
end of the day, a primeval soul is not a unique soul. So
From what I like, what is it? What's the conversion rate for our epic souls to primeval souls? Uh, one primeval soul is 20 epic souls, but 20 epic souls, if you were to open up a Doom Oracle box, is, let me get the math right, is 1800 Doom Oracles. So it's already,
1,000 for primeval.
yeah, yeah, 50% downstep is probably the best balance. Still, is still pretty shit. 100%. If we get that, I wouldn't be surprised. But that would probably be something that would eventually happen. Uh, but it's simply just like, yeah, which doesn't help, and it's just not worth it in the end. Then, um,
Yeah, me imagining them like matching the conversion rate from epic to primeval, like going the opposite direction. That's probably wishful thinking on my part.
I
like
mean,
like you,
I think there
sorry, go
is there's extremely limited reasons to go up
ahead.
for epic souls to primeval souls, because you're already gated by void souls. So in the instance of like the primeval weapon pot, where let me double check that. So the let me get a game. Blah, blah, blah. Game, please. So the primeval weapon pot requires 500 souls primeval and prime stellas. So upgrading or like using your epic souls to get a prime soul doesn't get you a prime stella. You need to find the primevals to get the prime stella. So going up to that point doesn't help you in any way. If you're trying to like mass farm and you're using the Doom Oracles to farm, it's still
Just
not worth it. Just use the lower level, because 20,
yeah.
yeah, it's not the same thing. Prime Stella should be account bound. That's kind of a tough kind of a thing to like to kind of discuss. And I'm trying, what I'm trying to say is like I agree, and I disagree. If they were account bound, the cost would be significantly higher, and I don't think that would be okay. And it's not saying like the cost would be like double. It'd be like triple or quadruple, honestly, because getting a primeval just like is RNG. So, but eventually over time you'll get a lot of them. Okay, so I forgot about the Black Fang recipe scrolls. Yep. Even then, like,
Here's something that most of us will never be done with until they're useless.
well, they I know that they improved them with their change to the set point thing, but from what I was reading, the set point change is makes Black Fang recipes even worse. Like the amount of extra overall damage you get is already small, and they changed it to make it a little bit bigger, with the fact they change it so that every, I think it's 70 set points over 2,550 gives you
Oh yeah.
more. It's just the Black Fang recipes are just became not worth it. Um, yeah, they are buffing them, but the amount they are buffing them is just still not worth it. So the perfume question is a great one, because we do actually have several people on the server who are trying to make one. I think it is, personally, I think it's virtually impossible for anyone to complete a perfume within the next, I want to say, 5 months, unless a change happens. I don't think anyone's going to complete a perfume. I don't think anyone's going to complete an earring. I would be very surprised. Second perfume on the auction. Oh no. There's have been, I think, 2 or 3 of them sold through. From what what a friend of mine said, 2 or 3 of them have been sold through Echoes. But the materials that you need to upgrade it, we just don't have them. They, we just don't have enough people running C2 Venus or Advent Venus. It's
This auction house thing, I'm surprised it isn't measured in billions.
yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things like it's related to the resource generation issue. Is we simply don't have the server population to sustain these kind of things. 800 mil Grizz, 800 mil is the gold cap that a single character that can hold on their person. And then if you have the max upgraded account safe, that's a max amount of gold you can have in your safe. If you've reached that point, you can't get any more gold. You can't pick up any more gold. You can't do anything. So you actually have to send that gold to another character or use bank alts.
That's mind blowing. It's like, so you mean to tell me right now I'm 1/4 of the way to the gold cap? What the hell?
I mean, the reason 800 mil used to be nothing for a lot of people. Because when it was some time ago, there was simply so much gold sitting on people's accounts that I knew quite a few people that had several billion gold just sitting there, and they're not spending it on anything, and that has changed. Like what after was saying, 800 mil. This cap is basically 2 bill. I actually don't know why 800 mil is the cap, Grizz. I don't think anyone really knows, but the value of gold has gone down. So it's not as there's not a lot of ways to get more gold, so people are just not generating more gold. Brittany's talking about the cost of the perfume, right? Or talking about something else? Yeah. I mean, the gold is one thing. You don't have to use gold. You can use how much is it? Like several 100,000 malefic residue, which
It's like
I don't
we're
think
probably
it
gonna
exists.
pull over RuneScape and have a fucking
Platinum
they use
coin?
summoning shards, or was it summoning shards in place of gold because everybody keeps hitting the hard programming limit of 2.1 billion per item stack.
Yeah, all the third age items are worth more than the gold cap, which is I think you said 2.1. So, oh no, that's the cap of amount of gold that you can list an item for on the Grand Exchange. I'm no kidding. I'm sorry. You can trade kit for more from other people, but you can also use platinum coins, which are worth I think like 1 billion gold each. Yeah, the Historia quartz. There's one known whale who's trying to make their perfume. If they get it, that'd be fantastic for them. It'd be fantastic for our server. We have proven ourselves wrong. Someone was able to do it, but it's again, this is a resource generation issue. We simply do not have the ability to generate enough of these for even one person to get it. So that's kind of, that's if there's something we can end it on, because I apologize, but my cat is being a cat. An unfortunate situation is that we simply just don't have the population for a lot of these resource issues. I do have a question for you guys who are in the chat. Can Banny Boo give quartz outside of Venus, or is it only in Venus? Oh, it's just DoD? Oh, that's nice. So, could he have a chance of appearing, and instead of me getting my epic selection pot that lets me turn 10 epic souls into 1, I get a chance of getting a quartz? Quartz and Clue. Fun.
Not the constellation prize, clearly.
Not a single person said they didn't want the that they were was against me showing their responses. So I can kind of go through them. I'm not gonna say them. This is a lot of words, but show up on the chat. Let me just double check. Yeah, I can put them into a document and send them. Yeah. Let's see if this will work. That is a lot of words. Yeah, give me. I'll send it to you later. Yeah, send me a DM as a reminder, and I'll just put them together, and I'll put them together in with like proper spacing and everything, so you see the individual responses. But yeah, I'll send that over to you. Con, did you read that Neopal said this cap has been a success in their eyes because they saw an increase in logins? I think they said that.
That's actually crazy.
I mean, yeah, that is a success to them. Like they,
what metric?
Well, okay, let's just be kind of honest here. When it comes to sales metrics, they don't really have to worry too much about our server, because we'll have whales buy 100 packages as soon as a new package drops. Like you can sometimes find in the auction house there'll be like 400 or 500 of the like one of the items that comes, or I think it's like the clone avatar box. Like there are some people who they'll immediately buy the 10 packages needed for the purchase bonuses, and they'll be buying like 10 or 20 more.
Yeah, but somebody in the chat was saying those sorts of players are leaving in CDNF, so it's like, again, by what metric?
I mean, Grizz, don't worry. I'm one of those people. Generally speaking, when it comes to a package, if I like it enough, I'll buy 10 of them. Usually over the package's lifetime, not all at once, but I'll generally buy, get to reach the final level number of the package purchases. This was translated from a KDNF thing that says Sunken Depths was a success because the amount of log is increased by 101%. Oh yeah, that was in the
oh boy.
Nope, that's not it. It was in Half Mango's document. I believe he put it there. Yep, it's right at the top. From last year's announcement of Sand Season preemptive closing to the recent new raid update, player login count has increased by 101%. The new season and its updates have seen great success, and I thank the player for it. Yeah. That's...
I guess they want to treat this like a retail game, I guess.
Yeah, that would make sense in KDNF. I mean, if that's the number they want to use to try and say the cap was a success, sure. Because 101% is what, double? A little bit more than double. Which is a big deal if it was lower before. Like a double of something is a really big deal in card games. In other things where they don't tell you the number, it's kind of not really clear if that is even worth the value. It's the same thing like when World of Warcraft decided they're never going to tell what their actual user count numbers are anymore because they got so low that it was a problem. But I mean, there were like these numbers like about player retention rate. The earnings call that Neopal had either last week or 2 weeks ago, indicated that Kazan the First Berserker was a failure. It didn't make enough sales. but
Okay.
they were still planning to go forward with the two other games in the DNF universe, which would be the DNF Arid, the Genshin Impact like game, and Overkill, because the reception was quite good. What they had stated in that statement as well was Kazan had not been released in China yet.
Uh,
So, if the game didn't do as well as they thought it would, outside of the region where it definitely will do really good, I don't think that's a good indicator for some things. I feel like that's yeah, yes, Blood is censored in China, so they would have to
they'd have
censor
to
it.
turn Kazan. They have to
He,
turn Kazan into a sandbender like they do in the
yeah.
CDNF.
Um, when did they make his blood white? Because I remember that was something they did, and everyone was making a very big joke about it.
How have I never heard of this?
I can't remember when it happened, but it was like people like, what are you doing? It was the same thing when they had the white coloration for the Neo Impaler avatars, and yeah, I'm assuming it's either going to be orange or it's going to be it's going to be like a sand color. Or it's just not going to be there, which will be kind of funny. But they are still planning to release Kazan in China, and I mean that's their biggest region for DFO related content. That should do well. What are you talking about? Popping Venus 3? She has clothing. Oh, basically China Zerker. Yeah, yeah, I would say that's right. Um,
She's styled like an Asuras Wrath boss. It's okay, guys.
yeah. Um, already done most of the stuff here. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna wind this down. If anyone has more questions, you can go ahead and ask. I am